Okay, so this is the second half of the podcast where we're going to a full 2-hour in-depth review of The Flash, and you'll hear us rant and shit. If you want to see part 1 of the podcast where we discuss our thoughts on David Cornsweet as Superman, as well as the finale for Superman and Lois Season 3, I'll leave that at the end of this video, or here, I don't know, I'll leave it somewhere where you can go watch part 1. But yeah, here's our review of The Flash. Here we go. Enjoy. And, brunch.
Are we doing this
now? We're doing it. We may as well jump in it. We're going to talk about The Flash!
Before we do, I was going to say, if you haven't seen it, you already know. Everybody fucking knows. It's like, this movie was like No Way Home, but almost worse. And what I mean by that is like the worst kept secret in cinema history. We knew too many behind-the-scenes facts about this movie. Way too many. They were too open with that shit, and I feel like that is a bad sign. But yes, in case you haven't seen it, we are about to talk about the Flash movie.
Do you remember...
Here we go.
Do you remember when we both would say, like, man, the marketing for this film is so bad because they're showing jack shit. They're showing nothing before, like, Christmas of...
I take it back!
Before last year.
I take it back!
Before last year, like, they were showing nothing. The only thing we were seeing were, like, some, like, promotional art. Not even, like, real promotions. Just, like...
The back of Keaton's cowl walking up on
like,
frame.
And, actual, like, sort of, like, animated drawing versions of the Flash running on T-shirts and shit like that.
Yeah, by Godot 23 and shit like that.
And then all of a sudden, once the trailer releases, it's like... Bruh, Tom Cruise is sucking on its dick, then Stephen King, and then fans around the world are seeing it before we are, and it's like, they're seeing it for free, and it's like, and we were getting like...
My fellow Americans, I just saw the Flash movie, it's one of the best movies ever made, it's totally great, it's better than them do-nothing Marvel movies. Bruh. I was a fan of Snyder, I was, but not after
I'll come out and say this, right? And I hope I'm not a lunatic for saying it. It's nowhere near the best superhero movie ever made. It's
not even close. Not even fucking close. Now listen. Okay. All right. I'll before we get into spoilers, which again, it's such a stupid thing to say. Without giving away the spoilers, what were your quick, like, initial thoughts on it?
Well... Okay.
What a great start already! Well...
I'll just give a bit of context, right? I was having a pretty shitty day when I decided to go see it. I decided I was gonna watch it on the Wednesday it released. I was like, okay, it's coming out on Wednesday, I'm gonna go watch it so I can, even though I already knew practically everything that was gonna happen because of the trailers and I've seen leaks and shit. I was like, some of it's my fault, some of it is because of the marketing, but whatever. But
a lot of it was our fault, a lot of it wasn't.
But it was the same with No Way Home, basically. But No Way Home had a lot more surprises than this did. For me, I'd say. But like,
ooh,
I was
go ahead. I'll say it later.
Yeah, but like, I was gonna watch it on Wednesday, and I was like, nah, you know what? I'm gonna watch it on Father's Day because I'm going away to Dublin with my dad, and I'll watch it with him. So I was like, right, okay. So I left Wednesday, but then on Thursday, I was like, I woke up, I felt really fed up, I was depressed, and it was just one of those really shitty days. And I needed something. I just needed something to boost me up. I needed to get out of my house. I needed to go somewhere. And I was like, fuck it. I just went to my mom and was like, Mom, I know I have not give you any notice or anything on getting lifts back. But I'm just telling you now, I am taking the bus into town to go watch The Flash. So you gotta pick me up when I'm done. Goodbye. So I left. And just went to go watch The Flash. Okay, I wasn't that up front. I was just like, Mom, please, I'm so sad. I need to go see this movie. And she was like, okay. So I went in and I went to go watch the movie, and I was like, okay, I'm glad I'm here to watch this. I can just chill out and enjoy the film. And I was hoping with that perspective, I was like, because I already knew that some people had come out and said that it's not as great as a lot of people before were saying it was. And I kind of had that inclination going in, so I was like, okay, well, look, it's just one of those days. Maybe I might have a better view on it. Kind of similar to how when I went to go see Black Adam, I look back at it now, it's a fucking shit of a movie. But when I went to go see it the first time, I kind of went in with just like, it's a superhero movie, whatever the fuck, kind of like that. And I had some enjoyment.
You're talking about
Black
Adam?
Adam, yeah. So, I kind of got some enjoyment out of it. Because I wasn't going in with anything or whatever.
It's a popcorn flick. It's fun.
But I feel like it was kind of impossible. Even though I kind of decided I was going to do that for this, it's kind of impossible because of how much is in it for me, especially with Keaton. Because like once the movie started and I saw everything, like first off, it starts off and it just throws you right in with the fucking
Yeah.
It's just like blood, and I'm like.
Which I liked. I liked that. To be fair, I really liked that.
I felt like okay, that's cool because it's like the Flash, really fast. Let's go. Okay. So now we're going into how I feel about it. Throughout the movie, I just felt a lot of times really questioning what I was watching, and I think the first example of that, was when Barry was like doing shit like looking at his arm and watching the calories and shit, and I'm like, okay, that's interesting. And then he goes to save. Okay, the first thing I was like, okay, what? It's like when babies are falling off the building, and he's going up there.
The baby shower.
A baby fucking shower. He's going up there, and he's putting babies in microwaves. He's going to like vending machines before he saves anyone. He goes into vending machines and stuffs his face, and I'm looking at this and I'm like, the CGI for this looks horrendous. Like the way he's stuffing his face, I can't take this seriously at all. And I don't know if you're supposed to or not. I don't know what kind of it was just. Right.
I don't know.
I was just watching this and I was like, I get that this is meant to be a superhero moment of a superhero saving people, but I have never in my life pictured seeing something like this. And that's how I felt for a lot of moments during this fucking movie.
Oh my god.
I'm sorry. And
where did the dog come from? Where the fuck did the dog come from? I didn't see him in that room.
I'll say this. The moment, that little moment, and I kind of wish we saw a bit more of this throughout the movie, but that moment where Barry is about to, like, do the thing, and it zooms on his face, and it's like the Flash, cuts to his feet, and we see a thing of his boots kind of, like, lift a bit, and then, boom, he runs, and it's like a complete one-shot of him running.
Oh, that was good. That looked good.
I was like, shit.
That's where most of the CGI budget went for this movie.
I was like,
that's where all the budget went.
This is awesome. Okay, cool. I mean, it's like...
It was a cool effect.
It's kind of like, oh, this is really cool, but also, man, fucking Gotham is really far away from Metropolis. Jesus Christ. And also...
Oh, it's Central City.
Was it really?
It had to have been, right? It had to have been Central City.
I saw...
Because he lives in Central City in the Snyder Cut, and the Snyder Cut, allegedly, is canon.
All right, yeah, okay. I had to...
It had, yeah.
I kind of had a feeling that it was like the cafe from the Snyder Cut that Lois goes to. Whenever when she picks up the coffee.
It did kind of look like that. You're right. It did.
I kind of follows that, so that's where my brain went. But yeah, it was probably Central City, but nonetheless, okay.
Yeah, it had to.
But whatever the fuck, right? The fact of the matter is, it's the long ass distance from that town to Gotham, and the fact that later on we see Bruce Wayne in his car just driving, like he's like,
I didn't think of that. How the fuck did he?
Yeah, he's just like.
Maybe the flying fox.
He's just like, bye, Barry.
Just drop him off in the airport.
Bye, Barry. And he just goes like for another 10-hour drive. He's like, Alfred, put the roast dinner. It's gonna be a good long ride before I get back.
No, this is basically what's gonna happen. It's like, all right, Alfred, I'm on my way home. I'm George Clooney now. I'm still on my way home.
Jesus Christ.
I have a beard. I got nipples on my suit. What's happening?
I can't wait till we get to that portion, but yeah. To describe.
I didn't even think of that.
Yeah,
oh my God.
Describe how I felt. Okay, I'll say this, right? the first portion of this movie did feel like I was watching a Flash movie, like a genuine Flash movie, even though it does feel like a Flash movie throughout, I'll say that. But what I'm saying is the first portion felt like a generally non-time travel, shared universe type of situation Flash movie. With him in Central City, doing his job. But it felt like it was crammed it felt like it was going by it so quick. And then it was just like, right, he's going back to save his mom. And I'm like, oh, okay, alright, we're doing this already? Okay, cool, right. Which I kind of had a feeling was going to be the case because from the trailers, that was all they showed. It felt like they did nothing for Flash in his personal life at all. Which they really showed the bare minimum, basically. Barry's at his job for 2 seconds. His boss hates him. And his dad's having a judge thing tomorrow. And Barry is upset because the cam footage doesn't have him looking up, so he can't, bail his dad out because, there's no real footage to see that he's innocent. And then Barry goes back and sees that people from the past look like they're from the Polar Express.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh my god. The more I think about it, there's so much to say about this movie, and I don't think we're gonna get to it.
I mean, like, I'm trying to go through everything in my head right now, but I'll say this, right? I mean, the way they did, like, the Speed Force in this movie was definitely not what I was expecting. I was expecting, like...
Yeah.
It
was very comic booky.
Very comic booky and very... It was interesting. I'll say it. It was interesting. And it was...
in concept,
yeah.
It's cool.
In concept, it's cool. When I saw the concept art for this movie, I thought it was going to be similar to the CW Flash, where he's just running, and he sees little holes and shit while he's running of, like... Oh, it's the Christopher Reeve Superman. He's doing that shit while he's running. Kind of just little mini holes you can see that pops here and there. But no, like he runs and
it's like when Crisis used unused footage of Titans to make it look like they're looking at portals opening in the sky or whatever. That probably would have been a better choice.
But
anyway.
Like the way it was like this, it kind of looked like a library of memories or moments that he could run back, and it was an interesting concept. But then,
those kind of jumping ahead a bit. The globe stuff that you saw,
yes,
like later in the movie. That I think is a reference to the Crisis on Infinite Earths comic book, because I think when it talked about the multiverse, it looked a lot like those glowing orbs. So when people complain about that. I hate to be that guy, but when people complain about that, I would be like, well, that is from the comic books. But I guess the argument is just because it's from the comic books doesn't mean it will look good in a visual medium, I guess.
Yeah.
But
and this was also the moments, like it was in the Speed Force where they kind of solidify that the Snyder Cut is canon. Because it shows that
you saw like a very bulky Aquaman pointing at Barry when he didn't even look that bulky in the actual movie.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, it's the moment from the Snyder Cut, so it's canon. And then not to mention, after Barry does the running, after he goes back in time, Bruce does say, like, there's a big difference between going back 10 seconds and going back a decade, basically.
Yeah. I missed that when I first saw it, but I think... Because I watched, we talked about it before we recorded, I watched Mr. Sunday Movies review on it, and I think they brought that up. It was like, that's how they kind of canonized.
And Iris also says to Barry that they saw each other quite recently.
Same actress from the Snyder Cut, because Iris wasn't in Justice League.
I'll say this,
so
the use of Iris in this movie felt so just like, why was she here?
Nothing.
And at the very end, where she like asks him out, I'm like, bruh.
What? Okay. I gotta. What about him is interesting to you? Because you meet him in front of that theatrics lab, and he's weird. Then you see you go to his apartment, and you just see that he's a colossal fuck up, and he just doesn't know how to talk to women, which I'm like, I guess maybe Barry Allen in the comics is a lot like that, maybe, but. There was something about it that just didn't feel... I mean, we'll get to Ezra Miller later, but there was something about that performance that didn't feel like the Flash
it's
to
like...
me. Because I always saw Barry Allen as, like, kind of comic.
Yeah, I see Barry Allen as that as well.
Not like Superman, but like
I think a good example, right, is Justice League: A New Frontier. The way Barry Allen was in that.
Yes.
That, and also quite
Yes.
recently, not sure if you've seen it, but Justice Society World War II.
I did see it, and you're right. That's a better
the way Barry is in that, with the way he talks to Iris and shit. That's kind of how I see him, and the Grant Gustin version as well. I suppose he's
especially Grant Gustin.
But like this Barry,
which we will also get to
Barry
later,
Allen is just so weird that
He was too weird.
He was too weird to the point where it would take a lot of convincing for Iris to really fall for him, unless Iris is just really into fucked up folks, which, I mean, okay, cool. But, like, she definitely showed nothing of that, and she just felt like she was just there to really just say shit about the judge thing, and then at the very end, like, oh, and then you have to ask him out as well. That was...
Yeah.
Somehow they managed to do a less chemistry relationship than Clark and Lois in the Snyderverse.
Oh my god, yeah. Holy crap! There's so much.
Yeah.
This is a weird long movie. It's actually not even that long, but it feels forever. On the topic
of relationships, right? And this was a really quick moment, and I'm not sure if you noticed this. But the moment, and we'll talk about Affleck Batman in general. That's a fucking another thing we gotta talk about. Christ, you're right. There's so much to talk about in this movie.
There's so much. There's so much.
But look, right.
Oh man, we're gonna be here all day. We've already been recording for 2 hours.
I'll say this. There's a quick moment where Wonder Woman arrives, saves Batman, and Batman just kind of says to her, like, he just goes like, "Hi," and he has this big smile on his face, like he's like trying to, when you're like nervous and you're talking to your date or something like that.
Someone you like.
Yeah, so I'm just kind of thinking to myself, is this meant to be like, are they fucking or something?
Well, I mean, the Snyder Cut, they kind of established that, like, he had a thing for her. Like, he's got, like, somewhat feelings. They accidentally touched the mouse at the same time. It's like, well, okay, it happens. But here, I didn't get the vibe of, oh, they have a thing. I just had the vibe of, he has a crush on her, and she's making fun of him for it.
Oh, yeah.
They do the same goddamn... You know what? Fuck it. I'm going to get to this right now. They do the same goddamn joke they did in Justice League that was in the New 52 Justice League because they just... Because they don't know what else to do with it, I guess? I mean, was it funny? I guess. It wasn't funny when Barry talked.
Yeah.
When Barry talked, it wasn't funny.
I'll tell you this, right? The fact that Ben Affleck came out and said that this moment that he did, where he was touching the lasso, was, oh my god.
Look at him. Holding on like a child, asking, "Hi, can I sell you my Girl Scout cookies, please?"
Then I'm gonna talk about that suit in a minute. But
there's so much to talk about.
Ben Affleck's Batman in that moment, right? Just Ben Affleck was saying that moment where he has a lasso on him and he's telling about why he does his Batman shit. And this is the moment where I really got the character. This is the moment where I was like, shit, man, I wish I had more to do. This is where I got it. I am Batman. This is great. And I was like, okay.
I know I said I quit. Can I do it again, James? James, I'm sorry. I won't make fun of you
anymore. Yeah, and I was like, okay. And it's a moment with the lasso of truth, which sounds a lot like Justice League. So I hope this isn't a joke moment. I hope this is a serious, deep moment where Bruce talks about his feelings and shit or whatever. Okay, I'll believe it when I see it. And
that would have been funnier, I think. Here's how I thought it was going to go down. I thought Batman was going to fall, and then Wonder Woman was going to lasso his chest. And he was going to be like, he was going to dangle like this, and he was just talking about his feelings, and you felt bad for him, but it was almost like a little bit pathetic in a lot of ways. So like they're all like, Bruce, like I miss Selena, I miss Talia, I wish I had a son, I miss Dick Grayson so much, and put me down right now.
Yeah, but like to be honest, I kind of hoped it would.
But it wasn't.
I kind of hoped the way Ben Affleck was saying it. I kind of hoped it was like a really emotional moment where Bruce gets really vulnerable and he starts talking about the sacrifices he's made a bit. We get a bit of history of him, a bit of what he's lost in the past, maybe a bit of Robin, the thing here and there. But no, he just goes like, what the fuck am I doing with my life? Maybe I should be using my money not for like fighting crime and shit, for poverty or some bullshit like that. Like,
my arrogance is too high to say thank you to you.
And I'm like,
was this what we're doing?
And I'm like,
is this what we're doing?
Like, wow,
I'm a virgin. All right, Barry.
Yeah. And when Ben Affleck, I was like, Ben Affleck, this is the moment. You got the role? Okay, cool. Yeah, alright. Yeah.
By the way, quick side note, I just shouted, I'm a virgin, and all my windows are open.
Great.
So, have fun with that, neighbors, I guess.
I know what sex is, I've just never experienced it.
Oh, God. Oh, my God. Oh, God. Okay, so that whole scene... it was cool to see Batfleck in that. I really love that Bat Pod, that Bat Cycle, whatever it's called. I think that's such a sick design. I know that's from Batman White Knight.
The moment I'll say this, the moment they and this is on the topic of the soundtrack as well. The Batman soundtrack portion of this film is actually pretty good. The rest of the soundtrack is nothing.
It's not Junkie XL's Batman theme, but it has a similar vibe.
It's a bit operatic. It was like, oh no, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then
when Batman showed up, it was epic.
And he goes off and he's like, do the thing. And I saw immediately how fucking weird it looked, because that was not Ben Affleck. That was a face, that was Ben Affleck's face CGI'd on the stunt double, straight away.
Or I was even thinking he's not wearing a cowl. I mean, he was legitimately wearing a cowl when they're in that Wonder Woman scene. But it felt like in the Batbike, they CGI'd the cowl on him. Because there was something
it was the stunt double, but they CGI'd Ben Affleck's mouth on the stunt double.
Oh, well, I'm talking when it zooms in on his face, when he's talking.
Oh, right.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. All the scenes of him riding, that's very much not Ben Affleck.
Yeah, it was...
That's Rick English, or whatever that stunt double's name is. Who's great.
But like, the thing is, right, it was very clear, and they've come out, and I think this has been said, it's very clear, because the suit for that movie is... In the scenes that it takes place in, which is like the Batpod scenes, it looks fine because it's not really being shown much, and I think that was meant to be the case for it. But they decided last minute where they were like, no, we're gonna have Ben Affleck actually like interact in the suit and shit. But they weren't gonna make a new suit, so they gave him the stunt suit, and that's why it looks so fucking...
And you could tell it looks loose on him.
Baggy, and just not right at all.
It didn't look good. You know what? Maybe it is. Maybe that's just a suit. Maybe that's just like a suit he wears when he's going out in that motor pad. Like that's extra padding for him, and he takes it off when he's not wearing it. But that's like, no, that's stupid. Batman he'll be naked right in that thing. He doesn't care. He's Batman. If he falls off the bike, he'll get up.
I'll say this right. I mean, like, I feel like the perfect way to describe this suit is like those action figures they make for superhero movies where it's like suits that are like armor pieces on top of the actual suits, but they're not ever worn in the movie. They're just worn to sell more figures, basically.
Like Man of Steel toys of Superman wearing Kryptonian armor.
Yeah, that's what this shit looks like. Or like in Batman, even Batman 89, where they did Bruce Wayne wearing, which this one was cool, where Bruce Wayne was wearing like the heart monitor suit. Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, that was cool. But this suit. Also, the fact that it was daytime. like seeing. I don't know what it is. There's something about seeing Batman in the daytime I don't really like. If you're gonna do it in the daytime, you gotta do it like how the Batman did it, where there's like no sky. It's a red sky, or it's cloudy and everything looks orange, and like the sun's coming up. That's how you do Batman in the daytime. In The Dark Knight Rises, I thought the suit looked a little bit off because that's when you notice more of like the imperfections on it, which I like imperfections in comic book movie suits, so I didn't mind that at all. But with seeing Batfleck in the daytime, was he in daytime in Justice League?
For the very
yeah, he was in the very end.
I say
didn't look good in there.
The only time it does work is with Adam West.
Oh well, yeah, absolutely. Oh my God. Kind of side note, that recent comic book they did where Batman was going to multiple different like multiverse versions of Batman. He meets with the Adam West Batman and the Batman Beyond and Michael Keaton. That handled that better than this movie.
Yeah.
That was better than this movie. Kind of jumping ahead a little bit, but yeah, that was better than this movie. And I will explain why later, but going back to Affleck, see, when he said that he filmed a scene that made him like regret leaving the role, I thought it was a scene where he talked to Barry about not going back in time, because I thought that scene was great. I thought that was very like, oh, this is Affleck showing his emotional side. The great moment
that should have not been fucking shown in every trailer and every clip.
Not at all. Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. You know that scene. It was like, oh, but your tragedy gave you your powers, but it also made me feel alone. Don't let your tragedy define who you are. And did he like know he was gonna be wiped away from the existence? Yeah, because
he was just like,
when Barry was like, hey, can we hang out? Not this time. Not this time. What do you mean, not this time? You don't know. Do you know? What's going on? Is this literally Affleck saying, I'm leaving,
maybe
goodbye?
Another time.
Yeah, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Oh my God. Oh my God. But no, that scene I really liked. I was like, that was a kind of a fitting conclusion to Affleck as Batman. I just wish his Batman scene was better. But the Bruce Wayne stuff I really liked. Bruce Wayne stuff was really good.
Tell you this, what did you think of Ezra Miller in this entire film?
Look, we've all known about all the stuff behind outside of Hawaii, what he did in Hawaii, all the stuff he got in trouble for, what he did in Iceland, what they did in Iceland. We all know that. I'm not going to get into that too much because I think seeing this movie and seeing like all the stuff he had to do, and seeing like how like intense this was going to be for them, with like you wiping away a universe, dealing with like your younger self and whatever, and you being the top star. Yeah, this would mess you up a little bit, I think, because he's never really been a lead in a movie before. Like maybe in a few small projects, like we gotta talk about Kevin or whatever. Nothing like this. So maybe they just handled it badly, and I think the scenes when he's serious, like when he's dealing with the younger Barry Allen, like the scenes when he's trying to be like the Barry Allen from the comics, I think they're fine. I think they did a decent job, and I think they did the emotional stuff very well. That final scene when he's saying goodbye to his mom, I genuinely that was very, very touching, and the fact that he really couldn't really do it at first, and he tried to hold in the tears. When I say he, I'm only talking about Barry Allen. Genuinely, I thought they did really, really well. When he was before he went back in time, and then when he was dealing with the past or like the younger version of himself, I found them insufferable. Jen, I was like, this is Justice League level of like Ezra Miller. This is so much Ezra Miller. If people who out there who really hate Ezra Miller, you will really hate this movie because they are in every scene. Which is fine. You expect that in a movie about the Flash, but I do not want them to come back, genuinely, and I'm not saying that because of their controversies. I'm done with it, genuinely. I feel like this should be it. What a lousy ending, but I want a new Flash really badly.
I
Yeah,
I
no.
fully agree with you, right? I mean, like, I remember before this was coming out, everyone was praising Ezra Miller, saying, like, oh my god, like, this movie is great, but Ezra Miller is fucking phenomenal. He carries this movie, they carry this movie, and, you know, he's the heart of it. And, like, yeah, he is the heart of it in many ways, but at the same time, it's... in like you said, in many ways they are very, very much the same as they were in Justice League, and when Barry meets his younger self, it's like his younger self is what Justice League was times 11, and it's.
I knew what they were trying to do. They were trying to like, hey, remember how annoying you were? Now you're dealing with how annoying you are, and I'm like, okay, so who is this a lesson to?
Yeah.
Is this a lesson to Barry? Is this a lesson to the studio? Is this like, what's the idea you have here? Okay, how do you feel about the fact that they're kind of doing Flashpoint, but it's with two different Barrys?
Look, I'll say this about it being Flashpoint, but also at the same time, I felt like this was a really smart way to do the Flash origin without doing the Flash origin.
Yeah,
I was
agree.
like, this is actually really smart. This is really good. I
agree on that.
Now,
he runs better.
yes, he does. I noticed that.
I
noticed that fucking instantly when young Barry gets his powers basically, and older Barry doesn't. Like, he loses them. I'll say this though, actually, before I talk about that moment where young Barry uses his powers and he's running around the city. That moment where they. This is probably the funniest moment of the whole movie for me, right? Is where it was right after young Barry gets his powers, older Barry loses them, and he's about to phase, and he just slams right into the wall, and like he tries doing it again, and he does it, and I laughed at that. And the moment where he starts doing the fucking run, I was like, okay, this is great. I love this. I was like,
I can't run.
But it was just like.
And he's screaming while he's
But
running.
it was just like, that is how he fucking runs. That's what he thinks running looks like.
I have a theory. So how did they film that scene? Did they go to him and did they just tell him to run and he just knew that's how Barry ran and he just did that? Or did they call him and say, hey, you know how funny you ran in Justice League and Snyder Cut? Run like that. Run goofy as
That's how he runs throughout this entire movie. Like, he runs like that. Like, they just catch it. It's like the same thing with fucking, like, Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman. Like, with her accent, it's like, okay, she has the accent, so does every Themyscirian. They have the accent. The Flash runs like that? Well, fucking, that's how he fucking runs.
Yeah. Oh my god. Maybe that's why they didn't want to have Grant Gustin in this movie, because they were like, see, this is how you actually run.
But there's an interesting thing, right, where they say, like, he's not really running, he's speed skating.
Well, I think that's what Zack Snyder said.
Right, because, like, that...
For his
because, like, I mean, that... And I suppose that's kind of what it is. It's like he's speed skating, because when he's running fast, it's like... It's not like his arms and legs are running really fast. They're running at like a...
Remember, his arms are like
this.
like
they're still smooth.
Yeah,
they're still smooth, and his legs are like that. So it's like he's skating, but he's not. It's not like going really fast. It's like funny. Okay, that moment where he's about to go back in time for the first time, he starts running and it starts building up, and it's like really, really fast. And then when he starts cutting to like his full speed, then he starts speed skating. It's like it builds it up and shit. It's interesting, I'll say that. But like that moment where they acknowledge how fucking stupid it looks with the way he runs. I thought that was definitely probably one of.
How do you feel about the suit?
That was like one of the best parts of this whole movie. But you know what? I feel like something we should probably talk about. I can't. I'm just so much to talk about this movie, but like the Flash suit.
Yeah, how do you feel about the suit?
Yeah. And I've talked about you. I've talked to you about this, and like, now, we've both discussed saying how horrible it is looked in promotional shit, but like, on set, it looks a lot better, like practically, because it looks like it has a lot of new techniques, new material techniques to it. Like, it actually fucking lights up, and
yeah, it lights up. I like that it lights up,
which is completely like gone in what the movie is.
I like the boots.
Like, yeah, but
yeah, I like
but
the
like
boots.
whatever we see in the movie, like there's no, it feels like the lights were just reference on set. Like there's just, and it's like look.
Probably.
I mean, on set, I felt like it looked better because, like I think you said, he has a collar, and I think that kind of looks cool. Whereas in the movie, they completely CG it smooth, and it ruins it for me completely. In every scene we see the Flash suit, it just looks way too smooth. But like when it was on set, and I was saying this to you, in that image where like Ben Affleck and Ezra Miller are smiling together, it looks cool, and I could see, and you've pointed this right about liking the imperfections of the suit, but you can see like around this point, this part here, where he's bending his arm, there's, what did you call them?
Buckling.
Sorry, say that again?
It's called buckling. That's what they called it in the
Buckling,
Superman
right.
Lives thing.
Buckling. And, like, I can see how the general audience would look at that and think it looks really weird and stupid. And I can see why they would smooth shit like that out. It's kind of like what they did for Black Panther in Civil War. Like, on set, it's pretty much what it looks like in the movie, but pieces are kind of a bit loose and whatever, so they kind of tidy up a little bit, and that's kind of what I expected they would do with the Flash. But they really just fucking manifest the entire suit completely, where it just looks fake all the time. And
oh man, I hate to say it. I hate to even give the idea, but that Keaton hybrid suit looks better.
Literally, I don't know how you read my mind, but that's what I was thinking. I was like, you know what? In concept, that Keaton suit looks better because it actually looks real.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. Like, of course, it looks stupid, but in the context of the movie, it's kind of supposed to, because it's literally Young Barry taking a Keaton suit, spray painting it red, and just adding his own shit. And obviously, the cowl looks very goofy on his head. Oh, I do like that they finally... There's a bunch of people yelling outside. Anyway, I do like that they made a joke that he can't turn his head in that cowl. And it was a very subtle joke. They didn't do like an annoying, like, oh my god, I can't turn my head! Batman, how can you turn your head? It's just a quiet...
Yeah.
And I think that's a reference to what happened when Michael Keaton actually put on the suit. He tried to turn his head, and it literally ripped from like the mouth to the neck. So I think that's what that was a reference to. So I'm sure Keaton got a big fucking, thrill out of that. But no, yeah, in execution, it looks better than the original Flash suit. And I don't know how they did that. I don't know how the fuck they fucked that up somehow.
The character in this movie who does have the best suit is Supergirl.
Yeah, oh yeah, without a doubt. Without a doubt. I love the colors.
And I feel like
yeah.
the Keaton suit, which I feel like we should might as well jump in straight into Keaton for this, but
well, we'll talk about the suit first.
Yeah, that's what I was about
suit,
to say.
Yeah.
The Keaton suit from the start of like the promotional image pictures, I thought it looked weird and a bit goofy, and I wasn't big on it.
I didn't like the cowl. I did not like the cowl. I liked everything else, but I didn't like the cowl.
As it's gone on, it's definitely warmed up on me a lot about it, and in the movie, it does look a lot better. And seeing it with all,
especially in the scenes at night.
Yeah, in the day.
That scene when he's fighting all the Russians, it looks great.
Yeah, that moment where he's fighting the Russians. I know, I'm just saying. I watched that.
I told you this on Instagram. I have a friend that's not a big fan of Michael Keaton as Batman, and I warmed him up, saying that he's the only Bruce Wayne that's comfortable being a rich weirdo. I told him, like, you should see this movie because there's a scene where Michael Keaton fights in the same similar style Ben Affleck did in that warehouse scene. And that was the moment he was like, okay, all right, well, if you put it that way, because Ben Affleck was his favorite Batman. So I'm hoping that will get him to see this.
Holy shit! That moment where he's like in the that was a moment I kind of was not expecting, because I knew there was going to be a cool fight scene with Keaton's Batman when I saw the trailers where he's like swooping down and picking dudes up, and I'm like, oh, it looks dope. It's really cool. Definitely a lot more than what Keaton would do in his films, but
this is the most he's ever moved. The most he's ever moved.
When he starts, like, oh, I just loved so much the way he would use his gadgets, like, and it really, like,
the grappling hook, how he kept using that as a weapon, that was great.
Like headcanoned, like the way his year one suit has like the grapple guns and is like, it kind of like feels like, yeah, that's shit he would do when he like year one, like he'd like fucking shoot people and like whip him and shit and do like that. So the fact he was doing that in the fighting and he was just like whipping people and punching back, I was like, you know what? Maybe a shared universe Michael Keaton Batman wouldn't be too bad after all.
Oh yeah, no, not at all. I saw this and okay, I guess we'll get into Michael Keaton. When I saw this, I was very much on board with, like, you know what? If Michael Keaton is the Batman of this, I'm more than fine with that, because he's amazing.
Bro,
he's amazing.
You know what? I'll say it.
He's the best thing in this whole movie.
I'll say it. They should have just kept the fucking ending. The free endings they filmed for this movie.
Yeah.
Where he was in 2 of the endings, for fuck's sake.
They did the ending where it was Michael Keaton that came out of the limo and shocked Barry. They did another thing where it was Henry Cavill, Gal Gadot, and Michael Keaton in the courthouse, and Barry would be like, okay, they're all here. What? Oh, my dad, yay! And the other ending is the one we got. They chose the worst one. They chose the worst one, by far. They only did that one for a laugh.
Kept the one with Keaton, Gal, and Henry. It's the most fucking satisfying and the most nice way to end this universe. Like, yeah, okay, it's not Affleck, but we just went an entire movie with this Batman. So, the fact that basically Barry has seen him die, and that's the last time he thought you'd see him, but here he is again. And like, sure, he's also like,
yeah, it would have been a nice, like, oh, he's okay.
Oh, he's okay, but wait, what about my friend?
Wait, why is he here?
Wait a minute, but what? Wait, what about my friend Affleck looking?
What do you remember? Yeah. What do you remember, Bruce? Who are you? Also, is this the same version from the Burton movies?
Right, okay.
I don't think so.
So basically, it's like this. It's like, it is and it isn't. It's a timeline. It's like, it's not the Burton-verse Batman. It isn't. This is really confusing to explain. It's like,
it's so confusing.
It's like, the shit that happened to Burton-verse Batman happened to this Batman that we see in this Flash movie, but it's now being put in a different universe or a different Earth that has a different future.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna say this real quick. I do not like that they went with the Flashpoint as a plotline. I don't think that plotline works for a multiverse thing, because that only works if you are just doing time travel. If they wanted to do Flashpoint, they should have just done Flashpoint. If they really wanted to bring Michael Keaton into it, then just do Batman Beyond, for fuck's sake. Just don't rely on another movie. Just fucking do it. Because, okay, you have Michael Keaton replacing Thomas Wayne Batman. This movie, it genuinely felt like there was no, as insane as this sounds, there was really no reason to have Burton Batman in this. Because it just... Because he's just practically doing what Thomas Wayne Batman did. But it's Michael Keaton.
I'll say this
Batman.
though, right? And it's just something I really felt after the movie. I felt really a bit empty with the relationship between Keaton, Batman, and Barry. Because I was kind of hoping a bit of a Thomas Wayne and Barry Allen type of relationship. Because that's how I kind of perceived what we were going for with this movie. And I didn't really get that much. It just felt like Bruce was helping for the sake of helping. But also at the same time, I mean, like, I was about to make an argument or a critique. Oh, sorry, it's my pug.
I was gonna say, I saw your dog leave your bed, and it looks like he's gonna cause some shit.
But it was like,
don't let Barry Allen near that dog.
Frank, calm down.
Frank, your dog's name is Frank. Yeah. I love that. Yes. It's a pug too, right? I love that so much. Shut up, Frank.
Do you want to see her? Come here. Frank.
Yeah, hell
Frank, come here. Come here. Frank, come here. Come on. Say hello. Okay, here we go. Oh, she's a fat bugger.
Is it she? Oh my god. Oh, here we go. Now here comes the views. Here comes the views.
Yeah,
in the time codes, just say this point. This is when the dog comes in.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Black and yellow, just like Michael Keaton. Perfect.
Calm down, Frank.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I call...
That is funny. Anyway.
Frank. Yeah, I was gonna make the... Okay, alright, calm your nuts. Okay, hold on, I'm gonna let her downstairs for a minute.
Yeah, okay. Dog name is Frank. That's so good. I mean, I have a dog named Charlie, but...
So, what I was gonna say... What was I gonna say about Michael Keaton Batman?
Well, I said there's really no point that his version of Batman needed to be... I don't know why they needed Michael Keaton's Batman in this. I'm happy he's in it,
yeah,
but why?
Okay, what I was gonna say was... And I was gonna say this as a critique as to why he decides not to help them, because they say like, we need your help, and he's like, pass, and he walks off, and they're just like, that's it. But he has no reason why he's not helping. And I was gonna say, well, that's a bit stupid. He doesn't really he just doesn't help because that's it. But when I think about Michael Keaton's Bruce Wayne, I'm like, yeah, he would do that.
He would be on for it, definitely.
Like,
definitely, I would see him being like, yeah, why not? Oh my God. If this movie was supposed to be the ending of the DCU and Snyderverse in general, they should have just stuck with the Flashpoint, like, entirely. They should have just stuck with, like, have it be Jeffrey D. Morgan as Thomas Wayne Batman. Have maybe okay, or if they refuse to have Henry Cavill in it, then yeah, you can keep the Supergirl thing. That's fine. And then at the very end, you can have it to where like it is Affleck and he gets that note, and that will be a good conclusion to Affleck as Batman. And then you can just say, all right, the universe is over. It's still there. We're just following a different thing. But they totally erase everything, and then they put in Michael Keaton's Batman here, and I just don't know why they did. I can't wrap my head around that. Yeah. And the fact that they said like, oh, this movie was a success. If it made like Batman level box office, we would have gotten a Batman Beyond movie with Michael Keaton. I don't believe that, because I think that was already shut down before the Flash movie came out. James Gunn shut that down, because I guess they were going to try to say this is the part of the DCU. And James Gunn figured, how about we don't have our new Batman be a 70-year-old man? And the fact that like we were robbed of a Batman Beyond movie with Michael Keaton is very frustrating. Or any other conclusion, because that's all I really wanted out of this movie. I wanted a conclusion to that Batman, because it was totally left
Well,
unsure
you
of
kind
what
of
happened after
fucking did.
Returns.
It's Armageddon for him.
Yeah, true. Yeah, and he died. So I guess Michael Keaton's Batman is dead now.
I'll say
Thanks,
this right. In that
movie.
in that moment where he does like basically kill himself twice, the first both moments, like you said, were really fitting, or how you would see that version of Batman going out, sacrificing himself. The second one was awesome. Like you said, like he goes up against Namek.
It was he goes after Nam and whatever his name is, and it's great. That's a great moment, and I thought that was for like a conclusion of a Batman, or maybe like Michael Keaton's. I thought it was fine. Actually, I like that's a good. I think I even said when I was more positive thinking about this movie, I said I wish we saw more of Keaton. But if this is the very last bit we ever see of Michael Keaton as Batman, I'm happy with what we got. And I still feel that way, but I don't know, man. There's something else up, and there's just I don't know. I feel
I'll tell
like,
you, I'm probably not as satisfied as because they showed literally almost everything of him in those trailers.
That's also true. That's very true. Yeah, because you want to know why? Because of the whole Ezra Miller controversies. They don't want to just slap Ezra Miller mostly in the trailers, and because I'm pretty sure the trailers were mostly going to talk about the twin or like the second variant. It was going to be more oil scenes and maybe a few shots of Keaton. But because of what they did in Hawaii, they were like, "Look, don't worry about having this maniac, this actual criminal." In the lead of your movie. Look who's in it. It's Michael Keaton. Look at all these cool shit that Michael Keaton does. He's jumping off that thing. He jumped. He ejected off the bat plane.
Fucking way to like even show Affleck shit, who's in it for like 2% of the film, and they.
What you see in Affleck in the trailer, that's all you get.
And not to mention the fucking like. It's insulting that at the very end of the trailer, in the bunch of logos they show, they throw an Affleck's thing in there. Like, like when...
Yeah, why? Why? What the fuck?
Now, like, stupid.
Oh my god.
They may as well throw Wonder Woman's logo in there, why not?
You might as well throw in Aquaman's logo.
Yeah, throw in Aquaman's logo as well. Throw in Cyborg's logo, even though he's not in it.
Oh, yeah. Oh my god. Alright. Should we talk about that a quick bit or no?
I don't know. I mean,
I don't know. I feel like, again, if you're gonna do a Flashpoint story, you kind of need Cyborg. I feel like Cyborg would be the person that Barry should talk to, because I feel like he should only have one conversation with Bruce, and Bruce will be like, absolutely not, no, and then he'll go to Cyborg and he'll be like, yeah, we could try it. We can make like a cosmic treadmill or whatever. Oh wait, no, they didn't need the cosmic treadmill. No, yeah, they didn't need it at all. So they just wrote that out of the wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so like as I was saying, I don't think they should have done Flashpoint.
Yeah.
What they should have done is a more Barry Allen centric Crisis on Infinite Earths, but only through Barry Allen's perspective. So that way you can excuse why you have Michael Keaton as Batman, why you got this new version of Supergirl, why, I don't know, other shit's happening, all these other characters are showing up, because I don't think they fully explained, or properly explained, why they went back in time, but people look different.
No.
Like,
oh no,
the spaghetti scene made no sense.
Yeah, that was it. Spaghetti, that's it.
Yeah, spaghetti. I was watching like, what the hell are you talking about, movie? Why are you making Michael Keaton's Bruce Wayne sound like he knows what the hell he's talking about?
Yeah, I was like, bruh, Michael Keaton's Batman wouldn't know shit.
He wouldn't get it.
You'd be like, what?
He wouldn't understand it at all.
Nuts. You know what? They should have explained it with nuts. That should have been the let's get nuts scene. He just like instead of spaghetti, he just throws in a bunch of nuts and he's like, right, you see this nut right here? You break it in half.
Hold on, let me get some nuts.
Hold on. Let's get some nuts.
Yeah. He gets the slap chop and chops some nuts in a little bit of pieces. You're gonna love my nuts. Here you go. Oh my god, yeah, you're right. That's how they should have done
Let's
it.
get nuts.
That's good nuts. But yeah, no, they should have done it like a Crisis on Infinite Earths, and I guess maybe if you would have done it that way, then Barry would have died at the end.
I wouldn't mind that.
Maybe I wouldn't, or maybe like the young Barry sees that our Barry dies, and he goes, "No, no, and he tries to fix it, and just whatever happens.
Well,
happens.
I mean, they were kind of gonna, they did kind of kill off Barry at the end of this, didn't they? They killed off.
They killed that young one.
What did you think of Dark Flash?
What a waste of time.
Yeah.
Total waste of time.
It kind of...
It's like, you advertise him in all these toys, you don't show him at all in merchandise, and I'm thinking, well, they're really not showing much of him. Did they not film much with him? And yeah, they didn't do anything with him.
Bruh.
Like, they had that one jump scare,
yeah.
And that, that was Andy Muschietti being like, hey, remember when I directed It? Here's a jump scare.
I'll tell you...
And then it turns out to be old Barry.
It's just... It just felt
like,
another
okay.
one of those fucking... It just felt like another one... It's like a cliche at this point of the DCU. Oh, look, it's a third-act CGI villain who comes in for 2 minutes.
A gray villain.
Yeah.
More or less.
Ares.
Yeah.
Ares. Doomsday. Cheetah.
Technically Zod, whenever he had that armor on.
Zod was I mean, like... I'd give Zod a... Oh, do you mean Zod?
Oh, in Man of Steel, he looked good.
Oh, right.
In Man of Steel, it looks
Zod
good.
in this, right.
Yeah, no. Yeah, no.
Cheetah. Fucking... the villain in Suicide Squad. The Suicide Squad. But the Suicide Squad was good because it had the big star and it looked...
The Suicide Squad had Starro. It was a more memorable villain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else? I mean, fucking... Black Adam. You didn't see Black Adam.
No, I eventually did.
Oh, you did?
I eventually watched it. It's mid.
Yeah.
It's fine.
It's stupid.
It's the Fast and Furious of comic movies.
Yeah, like my mate Ben's right. Like, God bless him, right? I love him to bits, but he brings up that movie all the fucking time. Like he was a hardcore fan of it and is so upset.
He believed that the hierarchy?
Yeah, like, but he doesn't know. He knows how shit... He knows you shouldn't give a shit about it, or it's not worth talking about. But he brings it up all the time as a comparison to how these superhero movies should not be wasted. And I'm like, I respect that. But you bring it up in every fucking conversation, and every time you do, I want to slap you! I'm like, shut up! It shouldn't be talked about ever! Just let it go!
Oh man, what a mess that movie is.
Yeah.
But it's better than this. No, it's not better than this. It's not. I will not say that. It's not better than this. It did better than this. That's the difference.
Yes, somehow it did.
Yeah, which is insane.
Yeah.
But, no, my God. Yeah, no. If they would have done like a Crisis on Infinite Earths thing, that would have been a great way to like. Not only are you like ending the Snyderverse for now, I mean, I don't really see it coming back that much. But you could also do a good shout-out to, like, other past DC stuff. Mr. Sunday Movies even mentioned what they should have done is, like, imagine if, like, instead of CGI cameos, which we'll get into those cameos later, what if they just did archive footage of, like, imagine, if you will, Batman 66, the movie. Batman's in that pier. He's running with that giant bomb. And then out of nowhere, 2 flashes run by him, and he just stops like,
oh my God, you know that kind of,
and then cut. That's it. That's like the only reference to Adam West, and then boom, 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 you do other.
I'm sorry.
Imagine how funny that would have been.
It's funny, but you know what that reminds me of? The fucking marketing shit I shared to you of like Wonder Woman on the fucking war thing, and it just did you notice that? Look who's there! It's just a green screen PNG of the Flash running on the war.
I have never been more embarrassed to be a comic book movie fan than that. Those oh my God!
Hurt. I was like, oh. Oh my God, the marketing for this movie. Oh my God.
You gotta throw that up on screen if we're talking about that, because I'm not sure not a lot of people know what that is. And it's horrible. It's horrible. Genuinely.
Someone did like a response to that. It's like, oh, you can also see him in Man of Steel, and they literally like they have Superman being thrown for a building, and they actually put in like the green screen of like the Flash running, and he does.
I saw that.
Yeah,
I saw that.
Like, it's like, look, he's right there, and I'm like, oh my, that's just what they fucking did.
Oh my god, I can't believe this. They had the. Oh, and Andy Muschietti. We're jumping topic now, but fuck it. Andy Muschietti being like, oh, a lot of the CGI was intentional. Bullshit.
Yeah.
Bullshit. And I get it. You're trying to protect your movie. And you know what? Would you say a lot of this is Andy's fault?
No.
Not at all. But how did the CGI look this bad?
Apparently.
And like people were trying to say, this is a movie that's been made 8 years in development. Not this movie. There's been 3 different Flash movies in development. This was in development since 2020.
Yeah. I think.
Yeah.
Look, Andy Muschietti's. I feel like look, I don't have. This movie has not put a bad sour taste in my mouth of him directing Batman. The stuff he directed for Batman in this movie is great. Like, he knows how to capture Batman on screen. He's great.
Absolutely.
So, and I feel like he's a really great visual director. And I'm not saying he's a bad storyteller. I mean, I haven't really seen him do any movies where he tells the stories. But he's great at capturing the stories on screen. And none of the story of this movie is his fault, really. It's whatever. And he directed the It movies fine. The second one's not that good, but it looks great. And the first one's good. Yeah. The first one's really good. Yeah. So look, he's just a great director in general.
He makes fun movies.
And he clearly has He has a huge love for Batman and Michael Keaton's Batman, especially. Throwing Michael Keaton's Batman out of his way.
He wanted to make a Batman movie more than a Flash
Oh, bro,
movie,
like that's what I was gonna get to. I feel like the only creative decision, and I feel like WB wanted a Batman in this movie, no matter what. But they wanted Christian Bale. They wanted him so bad, like out of everyone. Yeah.
They did.
They tried twice. Basically.
Well, they said if Michael Keaton said no, they would have called Christian Bale. And they did call Christian Bale to appear at the end of the movie instead of George Clooney. And he said, fuck no.
Yeah. Bruh,
he said no.
That's what I was going to get to. I was going to say, like...
Respect.
I was like, look, Christian Bale said no back when they asked him for BVS. And if he was going to say no to that... There was no chance in fucking hell he was going to say yes to a stupid joke of a cameo at the end of this film. It's a waste of his talent and time. He's like, bruh, I don't care how much money you throw at me. I'm going to go return some videotapes, okay?
It's not even Bruce Wayne, it's Patrick Bateman.
Oh my god. At the end of this
Yeah.
No, I was going to say, Patrick Bateman. I'm just thinking Patrick Bateman at the end of this movie. I love it.
Yeah. He's covered in blood and shit. I need to return some videotapes. But here's the thing. People were saying that Michael Keaton probably wasn't the financial draw to this movie because if you want to appeal to a young audience, not a lot of... That's mostly for like people my age and something like that. You need someone like Christian Bale. Well, here's the thing. Michael Keaton's story as Batman was not finished. It was cut. I mean, they tried to continue it with the Schumacher movies, but they have announced that those are not canon anymore. Christian Bale's story is done.
It's done, and it's also like it's just also the fact of the matter is I can't see Christian Bale ever sharing a screen with a different superhero. I just can't. It doesn't...
You would completely destroy what was the original intention of Christian Bale as Batman.
It just doesn't fit in my brain seeing his Bruce Wayne or Batman interacting with Barry Allen or Superman or anything like that. I just can't. I feel weird sometimes when I watch fan-made trailers and I see Christian Bale as Batman with the Justice League. I'm like,
You saw that latest one, right? Like the same guy who did Henry Cavill meets Christopher Reeve.
Yeah.
Robert Pattinson meets Christian Bale. He did a Justice League thing, and it's great. It's edited amazingly, and it's very easy to follow. Because sometimes with those fan films, it's very hard to follow what they're trying to say. But yeah, the fact that it was Christian Bale, I thought was like, okay, why?
Yeah.
what? Is it just because of Heath Ledger? Okay, maybe it's just because of Heath Ledger.
Because of that, and there's also just there's more footage to use with Bale than any other Batman, I'd say.
I guess.
But, like, at the same time, but look, on that topic, I'm just saying, it's a bit weird. It's not weird. It just doesn't feel right seeing his Batman with any version of Christian Bale as Batman. I don't care. But...
Remember those 3-part series where it's the death of Superman, but it's with Brandon Routh? And it has Wonder Woman and Christian Bale as Batman. That I thought was okay.
Yeah. I don't know. I kind of like that.
It was a more comic booky Christian Bale Batman.
Yeah, it felt like that, and also at the same time, I don't know. Brandon Routh Superman and Christian Bale Batman really fit together, in my opinion.
Yeah, they do.
Like that is probably the only exception I will make. But
they really do fit really well.
But nonetheless, I'm just saying, in general, shared universe Christian Bale, I just can't see it. But like Keaton,
I agree.
Keaton, I can see working in a shared universe. You know, it just and his story.
He's the most. And not only that, he's the most famous Batman, I think, next to Ben Affleck. Like everybody talks about Michael Keaton's Batman, like those movies. And so, like, why not bring him back? You know, everybody else is bringing back older actors from, like, movies in the 80s. The 80s is still, in the 80s and 90s, they're still popular. So why not bring that back?
Keaton has always been upfront about saying, yeah, I'll come back to it. Yeah, it's cool.
He said, I've thought about if I come back, I will fucking nail it.
Yeah.
Like, he's funny. He's a funny man, but he's serious. He knew he could do it. And it's like what Kevin Smith said. It's really nice nowadays where back then we would always give a shout out to these nostalgia stuff that we really love. And it's great to now see that nostalgia is shouting us back. Yeah. And I thought that was a great way of wording that. And that's what I felt like Michael Keaton as Batman was. But I don't think he was used in a way that made sense.
Yeah.
Here.
Look, I mean, some of the callbacks we did get to his stuff, because they do callbacks, like, for example, when they showed the Batmobile, which, I mean, unfortunately is the only thing we do see of it. Like, there is no driving in it.
I hate that so much. Because again, that's why I don't like that they're doing a Flashpoint type of story, because they can't use the Batmobile to go to Syria to get Supergirl. But man, imagine the action shot of the Flash running, Supergirl flying, and Michael Keaton's Batmobile, like, just going down the streets of wherever to fight whatever thing. Or, like, it's going through multiple universes, and you can see, like, the Christian Bale, Michael Keaton's Batmobile in Ben Affleck's Gotham. Yeah. Or, funny enough, in the Adam West Gotham. Just going time and time into different multiverses. It should have been a more multiverse movie, not a time travel movie.
I also did like the little nod of, like, Barry Allen getting the bag of Laughing Joker thing, where he's like, look.
I like that a lot.
Look, it laughs, and it's the Joker.
I like that a lot, because I've always wondered what the fuck that was, and I'm glad they shouted that out. So like, what did Batman come down from that fucking church and finally meet up with the cops face to face? And was Gordon like, do you want this?
He's like, yes.
The fucking laughing back, and he's like, sure. Why do you actually, no, maybe even weirder. He's like, Batman, we found this in his pocket. I'll take it. What do you need with it? Don't ask.
It's his alarm.
Fuck. Yeah, oh my god. Like he sleeps. Well, he does. He sleeps upside down. Yeah. Oh my god. Okay, so people had a problem with him saying that when he said, I'm Batman, when they already know he was Batman. I didn't mind that, because I can sometimes tell when a moment is just made for a movie. People, like to complain, like, they complain about how No Way Home, a lot of sequences are just made for applause. Like when Andrew Garfield shows up, and the silence after that, when, the bang of the walking cane, when Matt Murdock shows up. I don't mind those moments, because I like when a movie does that, where it's just like, here's a cool moment that you would see in a comic book. It makes no sense in real life, but you're not watching something in real life. You're watching a fucking movie. So when Michael Keaton shows up and says that he's Batman when they already know he's Batman, more than fine with that. Because to me, I do have a legitimate reason why he would say that. That's him saying it to himself, being like, yeah, man, fuck retirement. You still got it. You're Batman, you know. But it's the let's get nuts moment that made no sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's yeah. It just they're talking about a real situation about going to save the world, and they ask Bruce, like, look,
are you in?
Are you gonna help us here? And he's like, I'm going to get nuts. Let's get nuts.
You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts.
I'm like,
what does that mean?
No, it's like, bruh, no, we do not want to get nuts. The fucking planet is about to destroy. We cannot be, getting crazy here, dude. We gotta...
I imagine, like, young Barry being like, I'm allergic to nuts. I can't. I can't have any.
If they did that, I will.
And older Barry, like, actually, you don't need to worry about that. Our fast metabolism, we can handle food better. All right, I'll take some nuts.
Oh my god! If they did that, I would hang myself.
It's like, oh, we're fully delved into Marvel MCU territory.
Yes.
Or is this what we're doing now? Oh my god. How did you feel about the "How much do you weigh" callback?
I like that. I did like that.
I like that a lot too.
I was like, oh,
because I thought that fit smoothly.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't think about it at first until after they were answering him. I'm like, oh yeah, yeah. Oh, and did they reference past assault? They did, right?
Maybe.
They did like a passing the salt joke or something.
Maybe, yeah. Yeah. I think during this...
Because that's a joke me and my mom, and also me and my dad, we always reference that scene. Can you pass the salt? Sure. Walks 13 minutes. Give you the salt.
Love that.
I love that. But that, I mean, I guess that's more of a compliment to 89. But, oh my god. Batcave looked good. Was it the same Batcave in 89? Or was it slightly different?
It was a bit more technology to it.
And it also wasn't... Like, there wasn't, like, abyss underneath all that. It looked like there was, like, a ground.
A ground and water.
Somewhat. A ground and water. Oh! The Batwing is fucking sweet.
Yeah.
Genuinely. I love the upgraded Batwing.
Yeah, it's sweet. Like I kind of, from the trailers, I actually did think it was just the original Batwing. But no, it's like the front of it is...
It's updated.
Yeah, the front of it is like the Bat, but then at the bottom of it, it's, like, a lot more caved in.
I like it when, like, you bring back a character that hasn't been seen in a long while, and you give him more, like, what's the word I'm trying to think of? You change things up a bit. You give him progression. Yeah. You, like, like an issue I did have with No Way Home is that it, Peter and Toby and Kirsten Dunst, they're not married. They don't have a daughter. They're just still working it out. You guys are in your fucking 40s now. It's over. Either you have it figured out or you don't. Yeah. I didn't mind Andrew not having anybody. I didn't mind that at all. Actually, there was no progression.
I'll be on. I mean, I'll say this, right, about just a little thing about Andrew. It's like he didn't have no one, but at the same time, it felt like we were seeing a Peter Parker very soon after Amazing Spider-Man 2, and I was expecting, like a Peter Parker, like, really, like, I'm talking, like, years in his future. And it felt like he was playing a Peter Parker who was a lot younger and had just lost Gwen.
Okay, yeah, you're right. So maybe he was playing right after. Maybe he's playing
which is weird, because it's weird, because he does look older.
A little bit.
Yeah.
He looks... I mean, there is that scene where he's like... Electro's like, you got a young face, and Andrew's like...
Yeah.
Yeah. With that movie, there was no progression with that character. There is a lot of progression with Michael Keaton here, genuinely. And I think it's good. I think it's good progression in a weird sense. Yeah, and I guess, genuinely, this is not the same Batman as 89, because, remember this detail. When he didn't know who Superman was, and he's like, does that sound kind of pretentious? I don't call myself Super Batman. When they said that it's official that Christopher Reeve and Michael Keaton are supposed to be in the same universe. Mm. Which, first of all, they have done nothing with that. Like, no comic book, something. If they didn't do that, and if they would have instead just been like, this is a multiverse movie, I feel like, yeah, there will be like that somewhat connection, but they didn't do that, so I'm just like, well, what was the point of announcing that they're in the same universe? What is the point of literally anything? Because it just seems like now nothing really matters.
Yeah.
In this movie. And it's the fact that they totally obliterated the Snyderverse. Now, I'm not defending the Snyder Cult, but I'm just saying, like, how insane is that? And no wonder why people are reacting poorly to this movie. Like, I get that complaint of, like, wow, you're really just wiping away everything, and you think this is better. Like, how ballsy are you? How dare you? Genuinely, this is insane. Oh, God. All right, I'm trying to think of something else to talk about before we get to the fucking
Supergirl.
Well, we talked about her. Oh, okay. She's great.
She's great.
How would you feel if they kept her?
They kept her,
Because it was supposed to be Henry's Supergirl, and she met Henry and he gave her advice. But if they just say now she's David Cornsweat's Supergirl,
I guess whatever.
I mean,
I'll say for this movie, she was good, but definitely
she wasn't in it a lot.
Yeah, she was not in it a lot. We saw everything from her in the trailer, absolutely everything. Nothing was really kept secret.
Yeah, we did.
Nothing was.
Oh my God! Yeah,
everything except probably her getting stabbed a bunch of times by Zod. That was it.
That's what they do with
and I feel like that's all we can also really say about Zod as well. He's just there. He shows up for a bit, stabs people.
Michael Shannon hated this.
Yeah,
he was like, "This was not fun. This was just."
Yeah, that's all we can.
I felt like I was an action figure.
That's all there's to say about Zod. He's just there. He stabs.
He's there.
He stabs Kara all the time. The final fights.
He doesn't take his helmet off once.
No, and like Supergirl, right? I mean, her motivations are just so. It's so just like. She's got to do this, and then she's got to do that, and then it's just to progress the story. That is basically it. That's because like she had no reason to return back to Barry Allen to like for like I know there was the why did you like save me when Batman was like it's not him, let's go, and like he just doesn't give a fuck. But like Barry Allen was like, no, you're gonna be okay. We're gonna take you out. Why did you do that? Like I get that aspect out of it, but at the same time, she was just so like, I'm out. I'm gonna go see Zod. Okay, now I'm gonna come back at the specific moment where Barry Allen is dying. And
that was weird.
And I know
strange.
exactly what to do, which is take him up to the sky to get him hit by a bolt line. How did she know that was gonna do anything? What? She didn't know what this guy's powers was. She didn't know what they were doing. What the fuck?
Yeah, oh man, wow.
And
again, I feel like I do need to elaborate. I liked this movie a lot when I first saw it, genuinely, and I like. You can attest to this. I messaged you saying, I really liked it. I don't get it. I had a fucking blast watching it. And yeah, there are fun moments in it, definitely. But it is one of those movies where the more you think about it, the more you're just like, wow. This is it, huh? This is what we're getting.
Can I ask you this?
After years and years and years and years? Yeah, what?
And I didn't know whether to ask you this. And because I didn't know what your response would be and how I would react to it, because I don't know. I just got a bit of the sensation that you like this movie more. But what did you like more, this or Across the Spider-Verse?
Oh, Across the Spider-Verse without a fucking. Oh my God! Whoever says that this movie is better than Spider-Verse, you are out of your fucking mind. Out of your mind. Okay. Spider-Verse is one of those movies where I liked more after I saw it, because the only issue I had with that movie was there wasn't a lot of Peter Parker, and I wish there was more Peter B. Parker. I wanted more of that. Everything else, though, it is near perfect. It's a near perfect movie. You know, we know all that stuff about like the animators weren't treated that well, and I think it was just recently announced that it's going to be delayed.
That's right.
Which I am for, absolutely. If you want to release this movie next year, insane, fucking insane. You can't. There's no way. Treat our animators better, treat our VFX people better, and pay our writers.
I kind of hoped the reason why it was releasing next year was because they were pulling a Harry Potter's and the Deathly Hallows Part 1 and 2 situation where they were filming both
Avengers, Infinity War, and Endgame. That was the main inspiration.
They were doing like that shit simultaneously, which I was like, okay, so that's why this movie took so fucking long to come out, because they were doing both of them simultaneously. But that doesn't seem to be the case at all. They were just doing this movie entirely in those entire few years. So I don't even know how long it's gonna fucking take for the next one. So probably like 2, 3, 4 years. Kill me.
Probably. I mean, what a cliffhanger, but man, take your time with it, because what a movie. Holy shit. What a great movie. And no. Better than The Flash. Without a fucking doubt in my mind.
Good.
Anyone who says otherwise, you're lying. You are fucking lying to yourself. Alright, so.
Cameos.
Should we do cameos? Alright. So, oh boy. So who was the first one?
The first one was it was George Reeves.
Was it that Jay Garrick?
No, it was George Reeves, and then it was Jay Garrick.
Oh, and it was how do you feel about George Reeves being here?
Like, I don't know why people are saying, oh, it's a disrespect because it was released on the anniversary of his death or some shit like that. And he knows damn well.
Oh, yeah, it was.
Yeah, and it was like, and we all know damn well that George Reeves hated being Superman because it took his whatever and shit. But I didn't really see it like that. I didn't see it like that at all.
It was quick. It was very quick.
Very quick, and it was just an acknowledgement. Like, look. In concept, all of this is nice. If I were reading a comic and I was seeing this is great. And if you're gonna execute this in a movie, this is not how to do it at all.
You know, just do the part of the intro where he's on like the moon doing that pose and the cape's flapping. Do that. Don't do a CGI thing where he's like, "What is that?"
And look, the thing about this scene, right? If they were going to do it the way they did, and I've said this to you, is use unused archive footage of these characters and actors. I don't care. I mean, for the
well, we'll get to that one in a bit.
Yeah. Like, look, I mean, when I cut to Jay Garrick, I get that's meant to be just. Some people thought it was the Jay Garrick from the CW show, but apparently it isn't. Apparently
it wasn't.
Yeah,
it's not, because he confirmed it was. And by Jay Garrick, they mean Teddy Sears.
Yeah,
who turned out to be Zoom.
Yeah, but
he said, I have a bad memory, but I will remember a really intense call from Warner Brothers. That is not me. It is just some guy.
It was meant to be, it was just meant to be a general, just a Jay Garrick. But at the same time,
just a random dude.
It should have just been John Wesley Shipp. Just fucking...
Yes! Okay, we'll get to this. Okay, well, first of all, I will say this. The reason why I get the complaint with having George Reeves here is because, you know, with the other ones, there are family that can say if they liked it or not, if they can, like, give them permission to do it. Like, the two that we'll talk about, yeah, their family, and I'm sure they said, okay, yeah, that's fine. George Reeves has no one.
Right.
He had no one. He didn't have a wife. He didn't have a daughter. He didn't have a child. He had no one in his life. So there was no one to say yes or no to that. So I get that complaint to it. But it is genuinely really quick. Yeah. It is it's not a blink and you'll miss it. But I think it would be better if it was just like... Give it style, like how the Spider-Verse did. What if instead of like those globes... Okay, you could keep the globes, but if you zoom in inside the globe, it looks like a film reel, and you see George Reeves like that. That, I think, would be better.
Yeah.
And yeah, then it comes to Jay Garrick, and it's just some guy. And, okay, so now we'll get to that. You really had no room for John Wesley Shipp or Grant Gustin. You really gotta say Titans did a shout-out to Grant Gustin, and Titans did a better multiverse thing, like a multiverse shout-out thing than this movie. You're really going to tell me that? You're really going to make me compliment Titans?
Did you know that a considerations as well for this over Grant Gustin? And
I heard insane.
Marlon Brando, Linda Carter, and who else?
Someone else.
Oh,
someone else.
Heath Ledger's Joker was one of them.
Oh, fuck that. Oh, I'm glad they didn't do that. Because I feel like that is too soon still. But then so is the other one, maybe. But especially the Heath Ledger one, that's way too soon. And his family would have definitely said no to that. Definitely they would be like, fuck
Christopher Nolan would have come with an axe.
Oh, absolutely. So I'm glad. Why Marlon Brando? I guess maybe it would have been a different camp. Okay, well, we'll get to the Christopher Reeve thing later. But maybe his cameo would have been different. Maybe it would have been him in the fortress and Marlon Brando's behind.
Yeah, that would have been pretty cool, I guess.
That would have been fun. I mean, they did it for Superman Returns. Yeah. And I felt like that was handled better. Because, you know, Jor-El's dead.
But, like, they threw in Marlon Brando in Titans. Yeah.
What?
You hear Marlon Brando speaking when Beast Boy's in the multiverse thing.
You do? I have to watch that again.
You hear Jonathan Kent and you hear Marlon Brando.
You do the one thing I do know, son. You're here for a reason. They did that. You hear The Rock?
Yeah, yeah. You literally. I remember sending the link to you, and I'm like, dude, I watched this episode and I could hear that rock. I heard that rock.
Oh yeah, you're right. Okay, I remember. Yeah. They can never get rid of that rock sound. Yeah. They'll never get rid of it.
Even in the multiverse.
Okay, so right. Okay, so it's. But okay, so you're really no room for either Flash? Are you kidding me? Like what Mr. Sunday Movies said, that show ran so this movie could trip.
Yep.
Genuinely. That show's ran so this movie could run awfully. That is insane. No other Flash in a Flash movie. I think that's another reason why this movie didn't do that well, because that show had such a lackluster last few seasons, and everyone was sick and tired of it. Everyone was wanting that show to end. Even Grant Gustin wanted that show to end. So then when this movie came out, people was assuming it was like, is this the same as that show? That show sucked. I don't want to watch that. Maybe that's why. But no, at all? To Grant or John? Well, okay, maybe you could use the argument John Wesley Snipes / died in Crisis of Infinite Earths.
I could still...
But
his Jay Garrick would be...
Ezra Miller and Grant Gustin met... Oh, yeah, you're right. He could be Grant Gustin. He could be Jay Garrick. But Ezra Miller and Grant Gustin met in Crisis. And you're not going to acknowledge that at all? Are you insane? You're acting like... What, so their memories just get wiped afterwards? Okay, so does Brandon Routh's Superman remember being in Crisis when he flies away? Or is his wife alive in that one? Is that why his ass is yellow now?
Look, on the topics of the Brandon Routh, I really feel like they really missed a cameo to have Brandon Routh appear.
Right.
In these.
So, are we going to talk about that?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, like now. Are we going to lean to that now? Okay. All right. Look, I'm somebody that would not mind seeing a CGI shout out to Christopher Reeve. I would not mind that at all. However, boy, it did not look good. What you showed me in that screenshot, I was like, oh, well, it'll look better in the actual movie because this is a cell phone. This is a cell phone clip of it. It looks somehow worse.
Look,
Okay, the idea of it, I like to see him next to with Helen Slater's Supergirl. I liked that. That was cool. I liked the
Man,
you hear that music,
the way,
and yeah, it's nice.
The way to describe it,
but
it just looks. It looks like one of those fucking 3D animated shorts that you see on YouTube.
They look better.
Yeah.
Like, okay, remember Superman versus the Hulk?
Yeah, it looks like that. But that looks better.
It looks better than that. Those videos look better than what they did here.
Yeah, this literally...
I mean, okay, there's that other one where you see his front face looking at Supergirl, and then he turns back. That looked fine, but it was still very cartoony.
No, when he looks straight on like this, it looks like AI art, but...
Yeah.
Ah, man.
His body is moving, and his face is staying still.
Yeah, it looks like deepfake, kinda.
And how does Helen Slater look worse? Because Helen Slater's alive. Yeah. How does she look worse? Her face was not placed properly.
I'm sorry. Look, I love Christopher Reeve. I mean, look behind me. You see him there.
We did a commentary on the 40th anniversary. He's my Superman. He's your Superman.
I saw him come on screen. I felt nothing. I just felt
weird. I felt very... So my mom... I watched this movie with my mom. I didn't see it a second time. I only saw this once. My mom got emotional, but I think it's only just because she loves Christopher Reeve. Which, again, everyone loves Christopher Reeve. It's really... Besides that stupid episode of South Park, it's really hard to find anything that's against Christopher Reeve. And yes, the idea is there. I get it. But you know what? It would have been better to have Brandon Routh.
I feel like...
It would have been better.
I feel like, right... I've said this to you, right, about how you could do two separate things. The two separations between Christopher Reeve and Brandon Routh, while they're supposed to be the same Superman, is how...
They're the same Superman, but one is in the modern times.
Well, it's kind of like that, but it's like... They both have the same... Superman 1 and 2 happen to both these Superman. Same past, those two past. But it's like the spaghetti thing, where like the future kind of changes for both of them. Like Chris Reeve went one way and Brandon Routh went that way, where he had a kid and shit. And that's how you differentiate the looks and whatever. It's like a spiritual successor in a way. So they could have They could have done a mirror thing where, like, they show Christopher Reeve. And I feel like if they were to show Christopher Reeve in this, literally, and especially the way they were doing it in the movie, it was literally for a simple shot of him just looking in the camera, which I'm pretty sure if they just fucking went into their huge-ass vault of archive footage that they have from 4 Superman movies, that they have unused footage of Christopher Reeve probably just standing there on set, I don't know, grabbing his balls or something, or whatever, just itching it, or I don't know.
There's that video of him in the bathrobe, in a red bathrobe, reading a Mad magazine. Could have been that. Huh? What?
You got so much footage of that.
No. Yeah, do like that one video where they put Christopher Reeve in the end of Supergirl.
Oh,
and it looked legitimately good. And because it was actually him. He found a way to cut him out of whatever he was in and made it look like he's interacting with Supergirl. Why not just do that? Why not just do... They are flying into the... Like, they're flying into the camera, smiling, whatever. It's Chris Reeve and Helen Slater flying into the sun. And then the camera could pan, and it's them looking at that whatever the fuck is opening in the sky. Maybe it's something like that, because at least you could say we actually used Christopher Reeve.
That's what I mean. They just have so much footage they could use, and so much archive footage that... Or like outtakes of scenes that we've seen, you know what I mean? Just footage of...
You sent me that one of that fucking fake goose next to Christopher Reeve, and he's laughing and having a good time, he punches
That's what I mean, they have...
there's footage!
They have so much footage like that we have not seen, so why can't they just use shit like that? But no, and they were just like, we'll just do something that... that can be done, and I think it's...
And the music is making you feel like you're watching a beautiful, emotional tribute to a great man, and you just feel weird.
Yeah.
You feel really weird looking at it. I was... Man, I don't know, man. The more I think about it
I'm
now,
more sour towards it, I'll just say. I know you're a bit on board with the CGI. Personally, I would rather stay away from a CG Christopher Reeve. If you're gonna pay tribute, I'd rather be archive footage, or if there was any CG.
By CGI, I don't mean like that.
Yeah.
I mean like what you said, the archive footage, and just try to make it.
Yeah, like that works. That I'm okay with. But when you're doing a completely computer generated character and it looks like this, I'd rather not see it at all. I'd rather we don't see a Christopher Reeve cameo at all. Forget it. I don't care.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Or again, just give a shot from the movie. Again, just him in space smiling.
That's
at
what I
cameras.
mean. Like I'd rather like that would be great. I'd take that over this. But if
I'm more than fine with doing a Christopher Reeve tribute in these movies. More than fine with that. But the CGI, because like people were comparing Grand Moff Tarkin from Rogue One.
That's better.
Yeah, it's better. It's fucking better. Wow, man, I don't know. Wow, that felt icky to me. The more I think about it, I'm more against it.
And they show Adam West very briefly for like he says something about.
It looked like an action figure of Adam West.
Yeah, and it's like him kind of.
It was an action figure.
Him like chasing the Joker or something like that. And then
I thought it was him like climbing the mountain, the building like he used to do. That's what I thought it was.
But then it pans to probably your favorite Earth of the entire DC universe. Which...
So allow me...
I'll just say this. Which apparently was filmed in real life.
Bullshit! Bullshit! Okay. So, it's Nicolas Cage as Superman. We finally see it. After all these years, but here's the thing, right? Yes, I'm tears in my eye. I squealed when I saw that in the theater. Genuinely, I squealed because I knew it was going to happen. I saw a screenshot of what he looked like, but I didn't know when it was going to show up. So here I am seeing a Superman flying, and I'm like, ooh, wait a minute. Does he have long hair? He's got long hair. Oh my god, a giant spider! Oh my god! Holy fuck! I'm so sorry to everyone else in the theater. There was only like 6 people in the theater. But I'm so sorry to those people because I squealed the second I saw the fucking spider shoot the web in Nick Cage, and that yell he does, and it's the same image that he does in the concept art where he grabs both legs and uses his heat vision to kill it, and then he turns around and I'm like, yes, Nicholas, what the fuck did they do to his face? This is Polar Express level shit. It did not look great whatsoever. But also, okay, conceptually, besides me...
Who is this for?
Like...
I was saying to you, right, when you're going to do a moment like this with something as peculiar as Nicolas Cage's Superman, to which I had to... For my dad, right, when he went to go see this movie, I knew this the day before, because he had no idea that Nicolas Cage was ever Superman, so I didn't know what the fuck he was going to see whenever he saw this movie and saw Nicolas Cage. So we were in the hotel room, and I'm like, hey Dad, did you know Nicolas Cage was going to be Superman? He was like, what? And I showed him a picture, and he was like, nah. And then when we saw the movie, he sees that moment and he turns.
Which photo did you show of him?
Yeah, like he sees Nicolas Cage as Superman. And he goes like and like he goes like yeah.
I mean,
so like what?
Okay, like they said, like, oh yeah, we used the same concept designer from Superman Lives to work on this. Then why does it look so Why does it look like the S is stretching out like a CGI thing would?
It probably was.
Because it is. It doesn't. It's so bizarre. And okay, so you have Nicolas Cage as Superman, which of course, yeah, show that shit, but have him say something. Have him do something. Why not? Okay, here's another thing why I think they should have gone with just like the Crisis event. Have Nicolas Cage be there as Superman throughout the movie. Have it be that way. And that way you can have you can have my dream of having Michael Keaton and Nicolas Cage together as the world's finest, as Burton's world's finest. But like, I guess I can say that's my favorite one, because that's what left the most positive impact on me. And then, was that the last one they did? Was that the last cameo they did in that sequence?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. I guess that's an appropriate one to end, because it's such a wild card, such a crazy fucking reference to do. But like, he would have done it 100%. He would have done it 100%. Because when I heard Nicolas Cage was going to be in this as Superman, I thought it was going to be just him now, but wearing like a different suit. Like, I didn't think he would have the long hair. I thought he would have a beard, and I thought it would just be like a similar-ish suit that he wore, but with like a sharper S, like the sharper S logo instead of the one they went with. I mean, I'm happy they went with that look, because I really dig that look a lot, because I always loved mullet Superman. But I don't. My mom had to explain it to someone, to the person we were sitting next to. She had to explain. Did you get what they were doing? And they were like, who was that supposed to be?
Yeah.
She's like, that was supposed to be Nicolas Cage. And we're like, Nicolas Cage? Why Nicolas Cage? And I was like, he almost played Superman. And we were like, oh. And we explained, like, oh, we did the whole giant spider thing. And they went, oh.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm thinking, if that's the reaction to the general audience, then shit. Again, who is this besides me? Who is this for? Yeah. I'm happy they did it. Don't get me wrong. I'm so happy they did that. Pat will attest. I am a Superman Nicolas Cage fanatic. I know almost everything about that whole thing. So I was so happy when they did this, but I just... Maybe no one else has his opinion, but I wish they would have done more. I wish he was in it more. Maybe it should have been him instead of Supergirl. I don't fucking know.
To be honest, I wish... well, I did actually give you the what was it? The theory, or so to speak, of what if instead of Supergirl, it was Brandon Roof's Kal-El that we got in the chamber.
Well, it would have been great, but I say it should have been Nicolas Cage.
Of course you say. Of course you fucking say it'd be Nicolas Cage.
Of course. That
would have been Nicolas. It would have
so
been Nicolas
good.
Cage, and he's been in there for like 60 years. He's old.
Yeah, something like that, and he's just, "Get the bees! Get the bees off my teeth!"
Yeah, they were fucking torturing that bitch with bees. Red sun bees.
They were doing the Wicker Man style torture to poor Kal-El from that Earth. Oh my god. Man, oh man.
But like, yeah, I agree with.
Man, oh man.
With something like that, you just got to give more context to it. I mean, like, look, I get
a lot more.
I get there's fan service in films. In films in general, they're like, sometimes we got to give stuff to those really hardcore, deep fans, right? And I get shit like that when you put it in like a less of a noticeable presentation. Like maybe you see something, you're like, oh my god, I know that shit. That maybe the general audience will probably pass on or whatever. But when it's like right in your face, like Nicolas Cage is here, like it's expecting like everyone to lose their minds. It's not gonna work. It's not.
No, not really. It's not really gonna. See, okay, I want to know what was the theater reaction in CinemaCon.
Apparently,
or the other early screenings they had.
I'd say it's CinemaCon, and look, early screenings, right? It gets that lucky card because they're fan screenings, so fans are going to watch this. Fans who know shit, basically, and CinemaCon.
Yeah.
CinemaCon are people that know cinema. And Superman Lives is a known historic cinema failure. So, there you go.
Because, you don't really need to be a comic book fan to know what Superman Lives is. If you are a fan of movies,
you'll know.
Then you've definitely seen that documentary.
Yeah, you've seen that documentary, and you know about the failed Superman project with Nicolas Cage. It's a known cinema thing. But
It's yeah.
But like for general audience, it's like I say, I have to explain to my folks or my parents before watching the movie, like just not to tell them that he's in it, but to be like, hey, did you know that this was gonna happen? Like this thing was gonna happen. And they're like, huh, okay. And when they see the movie, they're like,
it's
oh,
a little exhausting.
I see it.
Right. It's a little exhausting.
Yeah.
If we're watching a comic book movie and they do all these obscure, that's the word I'm trying to think of, obscure references to shit that happened years ago or shit that almost happened, and I have to explain it to somebody I'm watching it with who didn't get it. Like I remember I took a girl on a date to see what fucking Marvel movie? Oh god, I can't remember. Maybe was it Age of Ultron? Because this is several years ago. And the amount of references they did, I had to explain, like, later on. I'm like, oh, God, I was hoping you would know that. Damn, how do I explain it? Because it's going to take me 13 minutes to explain it. It's exhausting to do that, and I was hoping they would give more context. And just, I want them to say, hi, I'm Nicolas Cage. I almost played Superman back in 97/98, and I was going to be directed by Tim Burton. And if you listen to Kevin Smith, here's Kevin Smith right now. Just something. I don't know what else they could have done, but I mean, I would have, I don't know, had him say something. Something. Because you can't tell me Nicolas Cage showed up, wore a polka dot, mocap suit, and just screamed. Yeah. You can't, and looked at an empty wall. You can't tell me that's all he did. There's no fucking way. There is no way.
That wasn't a Nicolas Cage scream. That was not a Nicolas Cage scream.
It was Nicolas Cage. Yeah, I think it was, but it was from a different movie.
Really? I didn't think it sounded like Nicolas Cage.
It was more based, probably. Yeah. I think they probably added more bass to it because that's him releasing Heat Vision. Yeah. But I've heard, trust me, Nicolas Cage can do that kind of scream, but he just hasn't in a few movies. It's always it's like just a lot more wider, like crazier. That's why he's a beautiful man. But yeah, man, that was a wild one. That one was. They could have done more with it, but I am happy I saw it. Genuinely, that filled my need to at least see that in live action.
Did do more with though?
Live action.
George Clooney.
Okay, so what a pointless cameo.
Pointless and literally so clearly they're right. Christian Bale won't get it. Clooney. Let's just get Clooney.
We can't get Christian Bale. Val Kilmer. It wouldn't make sense for Val Kilmer to get it because number one, he's got a condition and he can't act anymore. Even though he was in Maverick, but he was dubbed over. So we don't want to have him go through that. And not to mention George Clooney was replacement. So we'll get George Clooney. But you don't do anything with it. You just have him as Bruce Wayne?
Yeah, and like George Clooney...
It's funny. Okay, it was funny. I will say it was funny hearing Barry going, who the fuck is this?
Yeah.
I laughed at that moment.
It was funny, but it was funny and it was also like Barry Allen saying, you're not Batman. Like literally like saying to George Clooney, no, you're not Batman. And
oh yeah, like he hasn't heard that enough in his life.
And George Clooney's Bruce is like, what's the matter with you? Like,
what's wrong
with you? I'm Batman.
Yeah. Well, you do know what I told you this. You know what the original ending was supposed to be. I'm talking after credits.
With Ben Affleck's Batman.
So for audience who don't know, the after credits scene, which
pointless.
Sucked. Which how it was viewed in the movie, it sucked. There was no point. It wasn't even. Maybe it was funny seeing Aquaman fall in that puddle and being like, I'm fine here. You go ahead. But that's not good for an after credits scene. It's not. I don't like it. I normally don't like it when an after credits scene is just purely funny. Like when Guardians had Howard the Duck in an after credits scene. That was funny because it's like, oh, Howard the Duck is here. That's cool. But here it's like, oh, where's his leading? Okay, he gets that Atlantean ring. What's his leading? Oh, man, is this going to be a thing of Aquaman 2? Sure, I guess that's the next movie. Nothing. It's literally nothing. But, for people who don't know, it was supposed to carry on. Barry Allen grabs the Atlantean ring, and he's walking and doing his shit. And then he gets a portal opening, and it's Ben Affleck's Batman in a similar kind of nightmarish outfit, which was supposed to lead up to a Crisis of Infinite Earths movie, being like, and they filmed it. They test screened it. There's footage of it. We'll never see it, but it's there. Of him going, Barry, multiverse is in danger. We need you. Find us, Barry. Find us. Cuts. Barry going, what the fuck? And that's it. They cut that because we're like, we're not going to continue. I understand why they cut it, because we're like, we're not going to continue with that thing. Okay, then film a different after credit scene. To do something different, because this was just stupid.
I was kind of somewhat expecting possibly somewhat of a tease that maybe when James Gunn came on board that he said, right, let's kind of slip in a bit of a sneak peek to what the DCU is going to be like for the after, something like that for the after credit. Like, I don't know, but this was kind of a thought I had today where I said, imagine if they fucking revealed, let's just say David got cast as Superman ages ago. What if they revealed him to the general public as Superman in this?
I have one that might one up that one. So what if instead, the ending is Barry trying to run back time, trying to fix everything, trying to fix the multiverse before it collapses, and as he's running, you see his face totally get, warped, and all totally fucked up and freaky. And then finally a big white flash, portal open, Flash runs through, right? And he's in Metropolis, but it's not the Snyderverse Metropolis. It's a totally different, more comic booky looking Metropolis. Like, you see the globe on the Daily Planet, you see a giant LexCorp, you see Suicide Slums, you see a different Wayne Tech truck driving by. And you see the Flash, you just see behind the Flash. You don't see his face, you just see behind the Flash. And I don't remember if he had his helmet on during. I think he did. He had his mask on when he ran back. And you just see. You see Barry running around. He takes off the mask, and you see blonde hair from the back. And then before whoever could turn, credits.
Goddamn. That would be so.
No, that is how you end a movie. That's how you end a movie and start a new universe.
Yeah.
Imagine that shit.
Yeah. That would be so frustrating.
How do they not have our... Because, I hate to toot my own horn, but I expect someone to have better ideas than I have. Because I'm just a shitty fan that doesn't know shit from fuck. How am I doing... How? So what? Is Aquaman 2 in the Snyderverse still, or is it in the new one? We don't fucking know. We know what Blue Beetle is because James Gunn confirmed it. It's in the new DCU. Yeah, but what about Aquaman?
It's the first, not DCU movie, first DCU character.
What the fuck does that mean?
Fuck that movie.
Listen, I want to trust James Gunn's judgment. I love his movies.
So is Aquaman 2 DCU? Is that a DCU character movie? I don't... Because James Gunn's like, oh no, The Flash is the last DCU movie. This is a good setting off point for the DCU. No, it fucking isn't. It doesn't end jack shit.
The fucking Aquaman 2 was supposed to come out before The Flash. It's obvious. Like how Multiverse of Madness was supposed to come out before No Way Home. It's obvious. And apparently from the early screenings, I don't know how it has early screenings already, but apparently, it's one of the worst DCEU movies ever made. How? Number one, how?
It's like
if Suicide Squad 2016 exists and Justice League exists,
I'm not sure if you've seen on the topic of the Weekly Planet, Mason was saying all right, I'm gonna like he was saying so apparently Aquaman 2 is worse than is the worst DC movie.
I did see
that. He was like, all right, I'm gonna let you think about that for a moment. Look at the ratings of all the other movies. Just
Yeah.
sleep on it. Come back to me tomorrow, and then you can tell me what about it.
Yeah.
I love
yeah.
that.
No. It's genuinely, if you think you don't, I guess people don't remember Suicide Squad 2016.
Yeah.
I guess not a lot of people remember that one. Oh my god. Man, and that's it, right? That's it.
That's the Flash. Is this like? Is this what you hope this movie would be?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. The only scenes that I think I am very satisfied with was probably Keaton.
Keaton and the scene where Barry does go back in time to put the thing.
Oh yes. Oh yes. Yes. The emotional stuff is done really well, and Michael Keaton
really
is great.
well, but also it's like they should have probably done a lot more with the mom. I want to say.
Yeah, I like the mom a lot. I do wish she was.
Yeah, I thought she was great, and the emotional moments between her and Barry were really good. And it is a bit like when he this is a bit of a problem with the movie, right? And this Barry Allen, because he goes back to stop himself from taking the can of tomatoes out of the thing, yet he doesn't go out of his way to actually figure out who killed his mom.
Who I guess is
yeah,
Reverse
apparently
Flash.
It is Reverse Flash because sure,
sure,
they were
whatever.
Set it up in the sequel that it was Reverse Flash, whatever the fuck. Okay, who cares?
Not anymore. There's no way this is going to sequel.
But also, he decides last minute to move the cans of tomatoes up so his dad looks up whenever the camera looks a thing. And I'm like, he does that, and I'm like, motherfucker, do you not realize the slightest thing you change will change everything in the future? This is what Michael Keaton explained to you. It's not like you can decide what to change and think it will stay the same in the future. Anything. And it's like
that, and like
this Barry.
That's what you want to do. You don't maybe.
It's
funny how that was his plan to like save his mom. How about you just make sure like you say, wait, Mom, don't go to the store.
Yeah.
Or Mom, how about you go to the store? Mom, Dad, let's all go to the store or something.
But it's like
it's
just the fact that it's not necessarily that.
He didn't learn anything.
He doesn't learn. He shouldn't have done jack shit the moment he took the can out. Nothing.
That's the whole point of the Flashpoint story. That's the whole
Maybe there could have
point.
been a moment where he looks at the camera and he's like, he thinks about it and he's like, no. And then he realizes maybe he realizes in that moment, wait a minute, the reason why the camera is so fuzzy is because I'm fucking here. Where like the cameras...
Maybe.
And...
Maybe. I'm just thinking they just shouldn't have done that moment
they shouldn't have done it.
Just have him say, goodbye, Mom.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
It.
Like, that's what they should have done. Just left it there.
Because that moment alone was so good and so emotional and so brilliantly acted. Oh, that's another thing. The acting's really good in this movie. I don't think there's really an actor that I could say. Maybe Michael Shannon. He is definitely phoning it in a little bit.
Michael Shannon's just always Michael Shannon. He's great.
Yeah, well, Michael Shannon is great in Man of Steel, and here he's just like, this world will die. Yeah, I killed baby Kal-El. It's, yep. That's it. But everybody else is really good in this movie. It's acted really well. It's, but that moment, you completely ruined the character arc of Barry Allen at that moment, and he didn't learn a thing. So now we got George Clooney, who I guess is now... wow. So he burned like what they said in Mr. Sunday Movies. He burned Ben Affleck's Batman so badly when he was like, don't turn back time. Okay, I'll reverse time and replace you with two different men.
You know what? I made I made that Flash retro trailer, right? And I purposely went out of my way, because I did the trailer in a retro style of, like, replacing Supergirl with Christopher Reeve Superman, having the Keaton Batman just be a younger version of Keaton, to have the Flash be John Wesley Shipp. And I was like, who should be Ben Affleck's Batman? George Clooney! And...
yeah.
And now it's a fucking reality. George Clooney has become the new Ben Affleck Batman, and I want to kill myself.
And they did nothing with it. They done nothing with it. And again, like, I don't want George Clooney back as Batman. I don't.
No, I'm sorry.
I really don't.
Listen, I went on my way to say to you, I was like, listen, you know what? I'd be kind of cool, right, with George Clooney being the DCU Batman, because I think he's aged really well into the role. I really do.
You're not the only one who thinks that.
Like, I've heard High Top Film say the same thing, and I think he has. I think he plays a decent Bruce Wayne. Okay, like he does fine with playing a interpretation of Bruce Wayne. It's more so Batman he hasn't gotten a chance to do well yet, I suppose. But at the same time, it's so clear today that George Clooney does not get Batman. He does not get the character.
No, he doesn't.
He doesn't see the role as a role to tackle. He sees it as a job, and he sees it as like, oh, Batman sleeps with women, drives sexy cars, has his sidekick.
Why is he upset about his parents? That's why Michael Keaton didn't want to do the movies with Joel Schumacher. Because Joel Schumacher and him had a meeting, and they were like, okay, so I don't really want to make them dark and emotional. Why were the first two movies so dark and so sad? I didn't get that. And Michael was like, well, you do know why he became this way, right? You do know what happened to him, right? He's a dark weirdo because he had a fucked up past as a result of trauma. That was just not what, they totally had different ideologies, and George Clooney just, again, was like, he's Batman. He's got all these women. Why would he be upset? Maybe now he can understand it because of how badly that did for him. But
I did say this to you a couple of days ago. I do wish we do live in a reality, right, where we did get Batman Forever the exact same way it is, just with Michael Keaton. Just pretend we live in a timeline where we did get Batman Forever and Batman and Robin, but it was Michael Keaton, just because for the sake of it, I don't care. I know the movies will still be shit, but it's got Michael Keaton, so it's got something. I just want to see it.
With that, the fact they almost recasted Christopher Reeve during Superman 3 and 4, and because he just didn't want to do it. Because he was really upset with, like, the director change with Richard Donner to Richard Lester. He didn't like the comedic style they were doing, and they pleaded to him to do it, and then he eventually did it. And I'm so glad that was the choice. But, of course, you could tell, like, with Superman 3, Christopher Reeve tried so hard to make that something. That's why I always say I think that's the best he's ever been as Superman, because he's putting on the effort. That's the best he's looked. He's just the best in everything in that movie. And in 4, you can see that he's like, not really giving up, but like, one more try. I feel
like in Superman,
Michael Keaton,
I feel like in Superman 4, he is doing one more try, but you can definitely tell he's really trying to make the role a lot more serious.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Because he did not like the comedic approach.
Yeah.
And Michael Keaton and Christopher Reeve did a movie together in like the very early 90s. And I'm pretty sure they talked about that. About like, not like, oh, we should be Batman and Superman. It was probably more like, I gotta tell you, I'm so glad I'm not doing those movies anymore. And I'm pretty sure that kind of freaked out Michael. Being like a total change in direction. You got rid of Tim. You got rid of it. I'm not doing that. There's no fucking way I'm doing it. But my point was, if they would have recasted Christopher Reeve in 3 and 4, without Christopher Reeve in those movies, it's nothing.
Yeah.
Those movies are literally nothing. And I'm not saying like Val Kilmer was something. Val Kilmer legitimately tried, because Val Kilmer is a fan of Batman. He wanted to do that more emotionally troubled scarred Bruce Wayne. And, you know, the Schumacher cut generally is not that much different than what Batman Forever initially is. There was just scenes that were better that were removed, and they didn't need to be removed. But it was hard for him because he's like, I can't really do the Batman I want to do. I need to do Michael Keaton's Batman, but in a different tone. This is a movie to sell to kids. And, you know, they invited a bunch of kids over to the set to watch him, and that's when he's like, kids don't really care for Bruce Wayne in that aspect. They just want to put on the mask. They want to see the suit. They want to drive the cars. That's all this is. That's what I'm doing. I'll do the best I can. And then that's why George Clooney phoned it in.
Yeah.
And, yeah, so, I don't know what my point was initially, but that's just random thoughts I had. And it's just insane that we're getting George Clooney when really there could have been so many other ways.
It
didn't need to have George Clooney in it. It didn't need to have a different Batman.
It's just the fact that of all the things they reshot, that's what they went with. They should have just. They should have done what I thought like they were gonna probably do, which was like literally change the actor at the end, and we wouldn't see who it would be. But whatever.
Yeah, like I'm upset that they didn't have an idea that I had just now that I didn't think about when I was there and I wasn't executive producer on this movie. I'm mad that they didn't do that.
Yeah, but like still, even if they had gone with those choices of like ending the DCU with Michael Keaton, Henry Cavill and Gal Gadot, I would have been cool with that, and it would be like, this is how the universe lives on, and that's how it ends. It's just there it is, and then we move on to the DCU. Fine, yeah, whatever, cool. Personally, if they wanted,
we're okay with a universe ending without us seeing like a full on conclusion. You could just say everyone's happy, everything's fine.
But
they're still there. We just can't go with them.
This feels like such a fucking like slap in the face of an ending, like. Who the fuck is this? And then
it is.
And then like Barry Allen's face is just like and the teeth falls, and it's like, oh, and it's just like,
oh, I forgot about the fucking
I'm like,
tooth.
Wow, so this is the end of the DCU. Great, cool.
But is it?
I don't know.
Because James Gunn confirmed it's not going to be George Clooney as Batman for his one, and they said they are miles and miles away from casting Batman. But, what's the point, man? I think we said we were going to talk about this at some point, but this is almost a 4-hour podcast. Yeah. So I think we'll maybe wrap it up a little bit. The music is whatever.
The music's... Yeah.
Right? Music's whatever. Composer's talented as holy hell. I loved his Michael Keaton stuff. The Flash theme was nothing special, unfortunately. The fact that they didn't even use the Danny Elfman Flash theme is insane. No reference to other Flashes. I don't know, man. So, quick, what are your final thoughts on The Flash? Simplify it for me. What are your final thoughts about The Flash?
I feel like...
What do you think about this movie that we both clearly love? I love this movie so much. Best movie
ever. I've been holding this movie in since I've seen it. I have not... Like, I've sent you voice messages, and that's, like, the amount I've expressed about this movie. There's been a lot of containment in this film that I've been holding inside. And just saying it all out right now has got me so exhausted that I just want to give this movie a fucking, like a 3 out of 10.
A 3 out of 10. Wow. Yeah. Wow, man.
Look. Originally, I said to myself, I'll give it a 7. A 7's fine. But you know what? Fuck it. 5.
Yeah, it's one of those movies where, unfortunately, the more you think about it, the more you dislike about it.
5 out of 10. There you go. Put that in the poster.
5 out of 10. It's a headache, but at least it's not, at least it's not something that's worse, I guess. There's what you can put in the poster. At least it wasn't super annoying. My quick final thoughts. You know, I am very heartbroken that it's doing as bad as it did. But you know what? With all the news and leaks and drama that was behind this movie, and all like the recast and wiping away shit that you really shouldn't wipe away, the fact that it's another reboot, the fact that, you know, there's all these controversies with Ezra Miller and what have you, I really should not be that surprised with how badly it's doing in the box office.
It even exists.
It's a miracle it even got released. And you know what? That's probably the most...
You know what?
You could say.
It's bloody insane that WB would have lost less money if they just released this on Max than they did in cinemas. That is a fact right now.
It would be a crime if they released it on HBO Max before theaters, but yeah, you're right. It probably would have.
And like they've already given up on this movie. They're like, oh yeah, but it comes out on digital and like.
What happened to them saying this is the best DC movie since Dark Knight? Are you high? What are you smoking? Can I have some? What are you talking about? This is a... Oh my god, this is... Yeah, so I think I will probably... I don't even want to give it a 5, but I don't want to give it anything lower. Maybe a 5 is good enough. Nothing more than that. What a... Is disappointing a good word for it?
It's disappointing is a... It feels a bit too much of a compliment in a way. Look, okay, yeah. I'm probably being a bit too harsh. There's some love in here, okay? I can see a bit of it, more so towards Keaton.
Oh yeah, there is definitely.
Look, there's
definitely there's love in this.
It's not like Justice League where it's soulless.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I don't want to shit on it as hard as like to say it's as bad as that, but at the same time, it's just frustrating.
Maybe one of these days when it, you know, because it's coming out to HBO Max next month. Maybe one of these days we'll do a commentary on it and we'll see what our final thoughts will be around it.
All right. Well,
but as of now,
yeah, I say it deserves to do it. This would definitely be one that deserves to be due to commentary on, I'd say.
Oh, absolutely. God. But man, oh man, okay. This was the best they could come up with. I'm sure they tried really hard, and I know there was a bunch of love that was put into this. But man, I don't know whose fault it is, but man, oh man. And there's really nothing much to say other than that.
Spaghetti is the reason this movie failed.
Kevin Bacon.
Kevin Bacon and what's it? Eric Stoltz.
Okay, that was good. That I really liked. Yeah. That one I really liked. That was a cool little callback.
Was it Marty McThigh?
Yeah, Marty. Oh god.
It wasn't even his thigh. It was his calf. Such a stupid moment, but whatever.
What are you talking about? Gotham City is one of the safest cities in the world right now. Yeah, because you killed everybody.
Apparently, before we finish off, on that moment,
no.
Apparently, when Bruce Wayne says Gotham City is the safest cities in the whatever, apparently that's bullshit. Bruce Wayne is actually fucking lying. Gotham City is still a shit show.
Oh, probably.
It's still a shit show, and he's telling himself that just so he doesn't feel guilty for giving up.
Oh, okay, one more thing. Actually, okay, I like that detail. Actually, a lot. especially with Michael Keaton Batman. But here's a thought I had. Oh god, I hope I didn't just lose it now. How the fuck did they get there with a cab? How were they in Central City, or did they live in Gotham? How did they get here through a cab? How long was that taxi ride? How much did that fucking cost?
I mean, I don't know. We saw how far Central City was in the original DCU timeline.
Who's paying for that? Barry 1 or Barry 2?
I don't know. And Barry Allen was like really quick to say to young Barry when he figured out that supposedly Superman was in Russia. He just went like, Barry, we're going to Russia. Like, he just felt like, oh, we can just get the plane there. It's cool. It's fine.
Right. Why couldn't Barry 1 just be like, all right, Barry 2, normally when I run to Gotham, it's that way. Yeah. Like, maybe I can imagine Barry 2 doesn't know that much about the world since he didn't get his powers at this point yet. So maybe, like, just run straight ahead that way and carry me, protect my head, make sure I don't get dizzy, and then you could do the throw-up joke. Because I didn't like that they did the fucking throw-up joke during Keaton's best scene. I'm like, oh, this is a great scene. Don't. Oh, Ezra Miller puked in my mouth. Oh, gross.
I'll say this, though. On that moment of this will be the last thing we'll talk about before we sign off, but Andy Muschietti has come out and said the reason why Bruce Wayne knows so much about time travel and the reason why he did retire is because he tried to meddle with time at some point to stop something from happening, and it ended up not working and failing, and that's why he gave up.
I hate that.
And
so much. How would he...
Apparently, it is explained in a deleted scene. And it's...
Oh, of course!
Of
course! Well, thank God they didn't put that in the movie!
Apparently, it's the moment where they're flying to Russia, and, like, Barry Allen and his young self are in the back, and it's all really quiet, and they're like, should we say something? Like, should we say something or some shit? It's like, I don't know. He's not my Batman. I don't fucking know this guy. And then Batman comes out and says some shit like, I did try to meddle with time at one point, and then he just says that shit, and that's the reason why he stopped.
Why do studios have this habit of like, oh, we had a scene that explained something vividly and made sense, so we're gonna delete it? Why do studios do this?
I deleted that, but they kept the fucking tooth joke. I don't get that shit. What did the tooth thing... I'm sorry. This is one of those moments in this movie where I was like, this is another moment that made me feel weird, because I was like, why? What was the point of the tooth coming out of his mouth into the other Barry's mouth? What was the point of this? No one laughed. No...
Maybe to flip off the audience.
It's about as stupid, or not as stupid as I was going to make the comparison of in the Amazing Spider-Man 2 where the electric eels fix his teeth. You remember that?
You know what? I like that better than this. I liked that better.
Oh, and then he glues it back in his mouth. I don't fucking. Okay, that's it.
That was... One more thing I will say. Let this be a lesson to everyone, you and me, and everyone who's watching this video.
WB.
Don't work for WB. And, genuinely, don't work for WB. And, because I feel like we kept trying to look for leaks before a trailer came out, because we wanted something. Maybe that's a blessing in disguise. Maybe it would have been better if they didn't reveal much. We said this,
right? And this will be, like, kind of tying back to the David Cornsweet Superman Legacy. We said, we're going to try and avoid...
Oh, that put me in a better mood.
Yeah, I know, right?
that put me in a better mood.
We will try and go into that movie knowing as little as possible.
Totally blind.
Maybe totally watch the teaser, and... if the teaser's good enough, we'll leave it at that. But if we're like, maybe the official trailer, not a trailer 2, just the official trailer, if that's as obscure as James Gunn's trailers usually are, because like they don't really show much, like Guardians 3,
Yeah, he markets
the
this movie
Guardians
really
free
well.
trailer, they showed jack shit. Like, I didn't know what the fuck was going to happen in that movie at all.
Yeah, I trust how James Gunn will handle the production and the marketing of this movie. But I'm going to go as far as saying I'm debating on even watching a teaser. I'm not going to watch anything else.
Yes, I will probably try and do the same. And I won't even watch any plot synopsis or, like, any TV spots. And maybe, I mean, I'm pretty sure I'll come across promotional pictures on Instagram. I think that's kind of really hard not to avoid promotional pictures of seeing.
We'll get a first look of, like, here's set of
Yeah.
David in a fucked up version of the Superman suit that won't be what the actual Superman suit looks like.
That'll be fine. That's cool. It's just story-wise, I don't want to know anything.
Yeah.
I don't. I'll try my best to avoid who the villain is. I don't know if I can, but look. Moral of the story is we try going as blind as possible, and hopefully it's a better experience for it.
Yeah, I'm hoping for the best. Like I said, I'm very happy for David and Rachel. I was very happy with Superman and Lois season finale. That was great. I'm worried about season 4. And The Flash is a movie.
Yes. It is.
It's a movie.
A cinema experience that Tom Cruise recommends. Unfortunately.
I loved that Maverick joke. Such a great joke. Maverick. Kevin Bacon. Oh, I'm on the couch. I'm so happy right now. I'm going to do Mission Impossible now and nearly kill myself. What the fuck just happened? How did Tom Cruise get here? Holy shit. Andy Machete, I'm scared.
Andy Machete, Tom Cruise is on the phone. What?
Hi, Eddie. I loved it. It's such a great movie. Oh, God.
Fucking hell.
Jesus Christ. I want to talk to you about Scientology. Want to be Green Lantern? Who the hell is that?
He flies jets. Fuck yes. Cinema. No.
Oh, yes, I'm on board. What do you mean he actually flies? No, let me put me in a legitimate jet.
Wait.
I can fly this bitch. Fuck you, Harrison Ford.
Wait, he goes into space. Okay, let's go to fucking space.
Wait, no, Tom, wait, stop.
Wait, no, like, don't put me in a spacesuit. I'm gonna go to space and fucking.
You know what? I'm not even gonna wear an astronaut suit. I want to just wear a breathing tube. You can CGI it out. It's gonna be so great. Look at him in space.
He's just there, fucking with a ring.
He's just there. He's like, oh, it's so great. What's that? And he sees a Fast and Furious car flying by the moon. Vin Diesel, family. I saw my kids. I'm sweating.
I'm crying.
We're so upset with how the Flash turned out. We made Tom Cruise make us happy again.
Okay.
Oh my God. Can I be Iron Man in this? No, Tom, no. Tom, no.
Oh, people.
You're a 61-year-old man. Please calm down. Oh,
did you know?
God. I think that's a good point.
Know he actually put up a post on Instagram of seeing Indiana Jones and Oppenheimer and Barbie all at once, and
I did see that. Yeah, I did.
He was like, nothing better, no better cinema experience than a double viewing of going for an explosive experience to a completely pink film. I love cinema. And I'm like, Tom Cruise will praise any movie that releases in cinema. He must hate Netflix and Disney Plus and Amazon Prime so much. Yeah.
Netflix. Yeah.
Oh my God.
You think I would do an HBO Max movie? You want me to be in a green screen? I will only be in this movie if I can jump off the Eiffel Tower and slide it down with my rollerblades. That's how I'm gonna do this fucking movie. Ha ha ha!
Christ almighty. Okay, god damn, Jesus.
Fuck me. Alright. I think that's
it. Okay, thank you all for watching.
That's
this. I'm gonna. How long have we gone? 4 hours and 10 minutes. 4 hours and 10 minutes.
Hours. Holy shit, bruh. Oh, who the fuck is blowing up my phone?
How is it when we do podcasts? It gets longer and longer each time. I am scared that the next podcast we do is gonna be 6 hours. I bet it will be 6 hours.
Well, we'll see how phase 2 goes.
Oh my god! Yes, Jesus.
Because we ain't doing it now. I can tell you that. I need food.
I need sleep.
Yeah.
It's 1 in the morning.
Fuck, I might go to bed too. It's only 7 o'clock. No, it's almost 7 o'clock here.
What are you getting? What are you getting for dinner before we sign off?
I don't fucking know. I don't fucking... Whatever Barry Allen had. Maybe I'll have some of that. I'll spaghetti. That's what I'll have.
Spaghetti. Or some
nuts. Spaghetti. Multiverse spaghetti. Multiverse of mozzarella. That's what I'm having.
So what was that? What is cheese? What does the grating cheese stand for? That's the metaphor is over. It's finished. that was funny. Yeah,
it's just cheese.
Yeah.
That was funny.
All right.
That was very Michael Keaton.
Thank you all for watching. Y'all, you've got my link tree in the description. You all know you can follow Rob. I'll leave the links to his link tree in the description. Sorry, my brain is fried. In the description. And keep a lookout for the next podcast we do, which will be about the phase 2 that we do for Rob's awesome DCU. He's given a really great example of the ideas he can generate with the fucking perfect ending for this movie that it should have been with the not seeing the Flash's face. If you expect more cool ideas like that in his universe, and we're gonna dive in, make sure you guys actually go watch phase 1. That's completely great. That will eventually be turned into a video essay that I'm gonna help edit for Rob as well. That's
gonna be fun. There's fun stuff coming up. Coming up.
So keep a lookout for that, and also just go follow Rob on all his social media on Deviant Art to see all his awesome artwork. He's recently done some Nicolas Cage shit, so after seeing this movie, you're probably gonna want to see that. So go see that. And
trust me, at least when you look at my Nicolas Cage stuff, you can know you're actually looking at Nicolas Cage.
Yes, that is true. It looks a lot more real than this movie.
It's actually Nicolas Cage. So
yes, so yeah, go do all that. You know where to follow me and all that. So yeah, thank you all for watching. Don't go watch The Flash. Go watch Superman Legacy when it comes out. And
see The Flash on Couch Tuner. Actually, no, don't do that.
Yes, no.
Alright.
But yeah, alright. Peace out, folks. Love you all loads.
Bye-bye.
Mwah. Spaghetti.
Don't let your tooth fall out when you look at that George Clooney.
Nuts.